Yes, good afternoon. It is afternoon, isn't it? Good afternoon, good morning, good evening. Welcome back to Football Heritage TV, wherever you are, whoever you are. These two above me having a lovely chat this morning in a WhatsApp group about Enic. So we said, hey, let's take it to the tube of you. And here we are. Just want to say, currently I've got Sky Sports News on, and Arsenal are celebrating winning a league title. We need to work out, how do we rival them? How do we match that? But anyway, Lubo, how are we doing? Are you good?
All good, thanks.
Good. You got a shirt from the 1950s there or something? What's going on?
Hewlett Packard.
Oh, you got the old Hewlett Packard. Oh, the old Hewlett
Packard. I'm sure that was the one that your man Ginola was wearing, used to wear. I'm sure.
Listen, don't you be using my man Ginola in any way other than greatness, especially with some of the crap you like. Don't you worry about my Ginola. Pete, welcome to the show. We always see you in the chat. Been in the WhatsApp groups, getting your vocal cords warmed up the last few weeks. How are you, sir?
Afternoon, boys. Quick question, Lubo. How old's that shirt?
Cool. Do you know what? I'm still fit into it. That was
the only reason I'm wondering if it's actually older than I am, my friend.
It probably is. How old are you?
37.
I don't think it's older than you.
No, because I'm 43, and that was not out when I was 6. That would have been. God, what would that have been? 90, 98, 97?
Let me check.
Something like that. I don't
know. Tottenham Hewlett Packard. Tottenham
Hewlett Packard kids. I mean, he's wearing a Holston shirt in this picture. But anyway,
I've got Rule Fox in my head looking at a Hewlett Packard shirt. That's about right, isn't it?
Rule Fox. I'd rather him than most of the crap wingers we have to watch now. Anyway.
Here we go. 97. It was Ginola. It was 97 to 99. There you go.
Cool. I was 8.
So it's all up there, Lubo.
There you go. And you know what?
All up there.
Nearly 30 years later, I can still fit into it. So that put a smile on my face this morning. There you go.
I'll take it. I'll absolutely take this. Sava is 43. I thought you were in your 30s. I'll take it, mate. And my wife needs to realise how bloody lucky she is. She's got a husband who looks 10 years younger than he is.
She tells you that every morning, Sav. She tells you that every morning, doesn't she? When she wakes up,
absolutely, mate.
How lucky am I?
Absolutely. And in memory of the World Cup, I'm wearing the current World Cup holders shirt. Be interesting to see what they do with an aging Messi, who obviously isn't as aging as Ronaldo, who is never going to retire. Anyway, guys, interesting chat this morning. Whenever Enic are mentioned, this little radar goes off in Lubo's ears. Like he gets there. There's 3 things. It's Gray, it's Enic, and Levy. Those 3 words, and he's there. Guys, first and foremost, dare I ask what you thought of the Champions League final before we get into Enic? Interesting game, right?
Yes, I think Arteta probably realised with the team that he had that he was going to have to stink it out and in order to win. Thought Carragher got it spot on. He said their defence is the best in Europe,
but their attack is not.
But when you compare the 2 attacks. PSG were light years away, and however well you defend, you've got to be absolutely perfect to get it right for 90 minutes. Yeah. And they played the 1-2, and Kvaratskhelia got in. You had the penalty, and they're back to 1-1.
Yeah.
So, listen, it's difficult to compare Champions League finals with us because our final was over after 20 seconds, unfortunately, with that worst decision I've ever seen in my life. So it's hard to compare. But what's frightening is that if Arsenal do get a centre forward, because I thought Gyökeres was just appalling, just dreadful.
Yeah, I think everyone's worried if they start snapping up a few more intricate forwards with a bit more about them. Yeah. But I mean, Pete, it was interesting, right? Because we will move on to Spurs and Enic in a minute. But it was interesting because people for ages were going, "Oh my God, PSG are going to batter them 5-1." And as you know, I was someone that said this Arsenal team will not get opened up. They are one of the best well-drilled clubs in the world. What they don't have, like Lubo said, they don't have that
explosive.
that expressive nature that Bayern Munich and PSG have. But
Yeah.
what they have, the difference between Bayern Munich and how many goals Bayern Munich concede against PSG versus Arsenal, it's trying to find that blend, isn't it, between attack and defence? And yes, a real intriguing setup for that reason.
Yeah, I mean, let's be fair. Ultimately, Tottenham needed a Matisse Tell on the left wing to go down and do some damage to PSG. No, it wasn't good enough, was it? They didn't quite have the quality. PSG set up well. Arsenal set back, tried to kind of tempt them on, and then counter. The plan nearly worked. Absolutely. The interesting thing would be if that was us against PSG, the reaction from the fan base would be very different this morning about the setup. I think they did exactly what they needed to do. They were solid and they got unlucky. I think they should be proud of their performance.
Do you know what's interesting? Just before we move on, guys, what I find funny is when people are going, "Oh, it was boring," and Arsenal sat back. But let's be fair. The alternative is if you go at PSG and leave gaps, they will destroy you. And yesterday, I thought was the quietest I've ever seen Dembele, Kvaratskhelia, and Doué. Like they had moments, but you think in the Bayern Munich 2 games, those front 3, they were sublime. Yesterday, I didn't think they had an answer. But Arsenal, on the other hand, are absolutely sublime at the back, but don't quite have that expressiveness. So the worrying thing for me is if Arsenal find that. That's the worrying thing for me. If they go out and buy a couple of real top forwards, that's the worry for me now as a Spurs fan. But hey,
we played open against them at Paris. I thought first half, we played really well. We went in 1-1, I think, at half time. Thought the performance was excellent. And then they scored 4 in 12 minutes second half. So
it's what they can do. Yeah. The thing is, I think people have got to realise as well, forget if it's Arsenal or not. I think you can only play for how good the players you've got, right? Like Arsenal don't have the players to go and rip teams apart from pillar. You know, they don't have Kane, Son, and Bale up front. If you've got Kane, Son, and Bale, you're going right. Let's take them apart. But listen, I think there's many people. I think they're trying to banter Arsenal or mock them. But let's be brutally honest, guys. What would we do for a season like that?
Yeah,
title and Champions League final and League Cup final. So there'll be no banter from me because I'm jealous of where they're at as a football club. I don't mind admitting it.
It's a begrudging salute, isn't it? It's one of those. Fair play. Well done, won the league.
No, listen, I've been having a chat with a few people, 1 or 2 in the know, and just the way they run their club compared to the clowns that we're going to discuss now who run our club.
Agree.
They are light years ahead of us in every single way. In every single way. They must have sponsors queuing up for next season.
Yeah.
Oh, mate, he's absolute levels how they. I mean, as I said, last summer, they went out and everything they needed, everything they got. Need a striker? Got a striker. Need another right winger? Let's get Madueke in. Need another playmaker to match Odegaard? Let's get Eze in. Need another midfielder? Let's get Zubimendi. Need some centre backs? Yeah, let's get 2, Mosquera and Hincapi. Need a keeper? Let's get Kepa. Like it was just you watch Spurs in the transfer market. Like, oh no, we'll do that next window. Don't worry, we can cope with that, and that's the difference. But look, let's see. I like Ellie cracks me up. So let's big up PSG. We're the only team that played to win. Arteta, yeah, but I think again the difference is it's understanding tactics. If, as I said, Carragher said it this morning, Lubo, I think you've seen it on Sky Sports. Carragher said if Arsenal had gone and opened up, PSG ripped them apart, and I think Arteta knows that, right? And hence PSG looked a bit. I thought they looked toothless. If we're going to be brutally honest, I didn't think PSG looked like scoring. To be honest,
you know what surprised me was that. Maybe it was respect, I don't know, but I expected the 2 guys wide to take their fullbacks on more. And to get round the back, they used Hakimi's late runs to get round on several occasions. You didn't see Kvaratskhelia take on his fullback ever, did you?
But they also double up, don't they? They're so good at Lubo. They if you watch, Arsenal almost at times went to the 4-2-4, so that the back 4 can stay back. Rice and Lewis Skelly sit there and then they let the other 4 counter attack. But when defending, what we do, we leave Porro so exposed that someone like Kvaratskhelia goes.
Sure. Well, I think, Sav, that's why I think that's probably one of the reasons why Saka was hooked, because first half he was doubling up and Kvaratskhelia had the 2 of them in front, and as the second half went on, there was more and more space. Saka was taking longer and longer to come in and support the fullback, and he hooked him in the end and to put Madueke in.
Can I just remind everyone how we won the Europa League last year?
Yeah, right.
Not through some swashbuckling style. It was through Arteta ball, pretty much from last night. Sat back, counter, down the flanks, get the ball across the box, back of the net. They would have tried to do exactly the same situation as we did. We pulled it off. They didn't.
They were playing the best team in Europe. We were playing a Man United that finished 15th. Right. So
we were in a second tier trophy. They weren't.
No, look, we'll move on from them. I'm scared. I'm worried what they're going to do this summer. I am worried about it.
Can I just say to Paul Langley, the point I'm making is Kvaratskhelia got past his fullback, playing a 1-2. He didn't actually beat him straight one-on-one dribbling past him. That's the point I'm making.
Yeah, I thought they were poor yesterday, PSG's front three, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
They all got hooked, didn't they, as well?
But
anyway, look, I thought it was a really interesting final from stylistically, but I think it just goes to show the emotion of fans that yesterday morning, all I saw was people going 5-1 PSG, they're going to get battered. And I'm thinking, this Arsenal team don't get battered. However much we hate them, guys, they are so good at the back. Like, they are tremendous at the back. And Gabriel and Saliba, any Spurs fan that has ever said Romero and Van der Ven are better than them two, give your head a wobble, because they are nowhere near them. Anyway, guys, you two, we're having a little ding dong this morning about Enic. So we said, let's get it in. Pre-Enic, here's the topics today. Pre-Enic for 25 years and with Enic for 25 years. It needs to be the 25 years so that it's fair. We can't say, well, this happened in 1961 because we're going back to decades so far away. The next point we're going to talk about is Enic, and is it their fault we didn't win more trophies? Lots of people say it is. Other people say, well, hang on. We got into finals. If you're in a final, it's a one-off 90-minute game. How much can you then put on the owners? So we'll talk about that. Then I want to talk about Enic. Lots of people call them cheap, so they need to get their money out, whereas I don't actually think they are cheap. I think they spend a load of money. It's just how they spend it and what they spend it on. And the last subject is going to be Enic. Have they ever attempted to push us on? And I can't wait for Lubo's take on that one. We'll get a Lubo-style rant. We know the answer. Guys, girls, whoever wants to start, Enic 25 years versus pre-Enic 25 years. So we're going, what,
75.
Yeah, so we're going 75 to 2000, that era, right? 2000 to now. So whoever wants to kick off can, and I need a drink.
I'll let the YouTube experience take the show for a sec.
Sorry, you'll let the
YouTube experience take the show for a sec. Go
on. 75. That's a year after Bill Nicholson left, after 16 very successful years. So the ethos of the club, the way they play, to dare is to fail, attempting glory rather than succeed, aiming low, was set by Bill Nicholson and Danny Blanchflower. And this is what all of us were brought up on. Listen, I was born in 57, so I started following them in 65. Loved the club, loved the players that were there at the time. You know, I was fortunate enough to see Jimmy Greaves for 3 or 4 years, 5 years before he left, in the swap with Martin Peters. Coming in, Dave Mackay was there, Cliff Jones was there. And then we saw, you know, we've always had some really super players. And Spurs in the 60s built, you know, they won the FA Cup in 01. I'm just laying the groundwork to where we got to beginning in 75. We were the first team to win the FA Cup as a non-league, and the last team to win it as a non-league club. We won it again in 21. We won the league for the first time in 51, playing some great push and run football under Arthur Rowe. And then Nicholson took over in 58 after some lean years in the 50s, and built a most fabulous team that played great football. First team to win the double in that century, first English team to win a European trophy in 63, and we won that 5-1. So, you know, this is what the fans were used to. And Bill Nick had come to the end of he'd run his time, 74. Terry Neal came in. From 75, it was a poor year with Terry Neal. We stayed up, I think, with 2 Cyril Knowles goals in a 4-2 win against Leeds last game of the season. But for me, my whole point regarding Enic and how I judge Enic is based on, listen, we've never been an elite team that win loads of leagues. We only won 2 in, what are we now, 144 years. Mm-hmm. But we were always competitive through the 60s, 70s, 80s. We always competed for the cups. We always competed for players. We on several occasions paid the highest transfer fee. We paid proper, big wages at the time. And Spurs were always an attractive club. They were always a sexy club to come and play for. And right the way through, when Alan Sugar bought the club in 91, and then was one of the main negotiators for the Sky deal, Spurs were one of the big 5. So, you know, Spurs have always been up there. When we talk about, you know, we're way off the big clubs now. We might be now in terms of trophies, but we weren't then. We weren't pre-Enic. I think we were the 4th highest trophy winning team in the country, before Enic took over. So for me, from 75 to 2000, we had good years. We had some great years. We had start with relegation in 77. We came back in 78. We bought Ozzy and Ricky. We went on. Birkinshaw built a great team there. Bought Ray Clements from Liverpool for 300,000 because I think the Danes after Jennings hadn't worked, not the way that Birkinshaw wanted. Went and bought Clements in when Liverpool bought Grobbelaar, and they were always in for big players. You know, 81, 82, we won the FA Cup. I mean, no one can forget Ricky's night out. You know, there were always some great days. And you went on, 84 was the UEFA Cup when it was a proper European trophy, not like teams from 5th place or 6th place onwards going in. You know, it was only the champions that went into the European Cup, and we were in a competition with 2nd and 3rd and 4th. So that was, you know, that was a brilliant competition to win. My position regarding Enic has always been that since they took over, they were always, and they've been honest about it, they came out and they said, we're here, this is purely an investment. Now, as a fan, I don't want to hear that. That's the opposite of what I want to hear. We want to hear owners come in and say, we want to build this club and have major success, footballing success. Because this is a football club. This isn't Santander. You know, you want top people that are going to make money, put them on a board of a company that you got shares at, or put them, you know, or a building society where you got money. This is a football club. And I think Enic have never shown any respect for the fact that this is a great football club that, in my eyes, I'm a major fan. People can call me biased when I say great. For me, I love this club. And we're not elite like the Uniteds and Liverpools and all the European teams that have won many, many league championships and have been at the top for many, many years. We're not that team. But we were competitive, and you know, we had some fabulous times, you know, in the last century. And for me, there's never any guarantee of success. But for Enic not to go all out to be successful and to take the club only so far to a point where they carry on making money, but not to take the risk up where you want to become a top club in a sustainable way, that for me is Enic's crime. And that's why I hate Levy and Lewis, because I think they've cheated me. There's no guarantee we'd have won the trophies, but they've cheated me out of having a team that want to be competitive and want to compete. And this for me is the biggest thing for me about Enic. And that's why I just want them gone, and I want new owners in. May not be successful, maybe as bad as Enic, who knows? But I think after 26 years, it's now time to twist rather than stick. And I'd much rather have new owners in who want to come in. And I know that's not easy with the asking price that the club would go for. So, for me, I hope that gives some background as to where I came up, how I was brought up with the club, the history. Look at the players we had before 2000. I mean, look at them. I'll start. Let me start. Let me soothe Salah's ego. Let me start with Ginola. Let me move on to Klinsmann, Greaves, Ardiles, Villa, Hoddle, Chivers, Peters, Mackay, Blanchflower, Clive Allen, Gary Lineker. There are so many, and there's loads more. I'm sure people will put up on the comments that we didn't have. We've never had this under Enic. We had this right up to 99. We had Ginola joining late 90s. We had Les Ferdinand joining, who was an England international, late 90s. Ferdinand did brilliantly at Newcastle. Wanted to come back to London. We bought him. Spurs were there. We would pay the highest transfer fees. Gascoigne broke the transfer record. Martin Peters, Jimmy Greaves. We spent money. It wasn't a question of we're only going to buy players who are prepared to accept that much money in terms of wages, which limits the amount of players you're going to buy. Spurs were a proper club. They competed. Now, all I want is for my team to compete. There's no guarantees of trophies, but as long as you do your best in life, that's all you can do. And Enic have never, ever done their best. Right.
And this is a good time for me to come in. So thank you for the history of Tottenham Hotspur, going back to the 1840s. Very much appreciated. What I would say to you, with all due respect, is you were asked about 25 years pre-Enic, and you've then rambled through. So I'm going to try and catch us up to roughly where we are from where I see it, and then we go on. Is that cool with you?
Sure. Well, Sam's running the show. He's
listen, you guys. I'll chip in every now and then. I'm just moderating. I'm just chilling. So, I'm channeling my inner Lionel Messi for the World Cup. That's all I'm doing here. Don't worry about that.
How many league titles did we win pre-Enic?
We haven't.
Cool.
Pre-Enic two.
But in that 25-year period, we are discussing not anything back in well before. In that 25-year period, we didn't win a league title. How many cup finals did we get to in that 25-year period?
That's between 75 and 2000.
Yeah.
Cup finals.
Yeah.
81, 82, 87, 91.
Cool. So that's 5, right?
4. 8, hang on. 75 to 2000.
2001, yeah.
81, 82, 87, and 91. 4.
And 2001. I'll give you 2001 to call that 5.
No, we didn't reach an FA Cup final in 2001.
A major trophy final. We've got 5 of them in that period.
Major trophy? 2001. When? Who did we play then?
So we've got major trophies: FA Cup, League Cup, UEFA Cup, and Europa League.
99. Right, League Cups. You're talking about League Cups?
Yeah, that's a major trophy. We would be over the moon with.
Okay, fine. All right. Sorry, I thought we were just talking about FA Cups. Okay.
No.
You've got 4 FA Cups. League Cups, you had 71, 73, 82, and 99.
Okay, so 71 and 73 don't count because we're talking the 25 years prior. My point is, it's 5 finals, right?
We've got 2 there, and we've got one Europe. 84.
But 5 finals here,
7.
5 finals here, right?
7 finals in total.
In that 25-year period?
Yeah, 7 finals.
5 and 5?
No, 4 FA Cup, 2 League Cup, 1 European.
In what time frame? So I feel like we're missing time frames.
75 to 2000.
7 cup finals, right?
7 cup finals.
Okay. How many since? 7?
2002, 2008, and 2009. 2015, 2019, 2021, 2025. 7?
Okay, so it's even. I thought it's 5 and 5, it's 7 and 7. It's okay. Even. So in reality, we've got 2 equal amount of one-off games to win a trophy. They are one-off games. You can't put the blame of a board on a one-off game. We then look at relegations. How many in that 1975 to 2001 period? 1 before Enic. Okay. 0, thank God, since Enic have been in. How we got away with it this year, I don't know, but
Not much in it, was there? Not much in it.
No. We probably about as much as me and you have got hair on our head was the difference between us surviving and not. And then if we're going to go relatively, top 4 finishes, which is fair. High up, rank that top 5 that you're on about in competitiveness. How many were in that 75 to 2001 period? Not many, I'm telling you. Whereas we spent a decade consistently finishing in the top 4 under a really bad Enic board. So we've developed and built the squad over a period of time and finished into the top 4 consistently, which allowed us to kick on. In that time period, we got to a Champions League final, which outstanding. We've then won a Europa League final, more than what we could have dreamed of in that period. Our best finish is 2nd. Our best finish pre-Enic was 3rd in that 25-year period. So there's an awful lot of on the field achievement that Enic have actually nearly got right. I'm not saying they've got it perfect, but they've nearly got it right in that period. Whether you owe that down to the fantastic players we've had, the overachievement of managers like Pochettino, whether you owe that down to a bit of luck, which plays a part in every club. But when you've got 2 time periods and compare them side by side, there's not a lot in it apart from a couple of one-off games. So I get why you're frustrated with Enic, and you're right that they haven't put the club forward as the number 1 footballing bit. But they will also bloody tell you that, and they'll put their hands up and go, we came here to build a squad and build a club that's self-sustainable, improve the infrastructure and sell it on. So far, they have done exactly what they told you they were going to do. So you can be frustrated about it, which I get, but you also have to go, you know what? At least you told us what you were going to do. And that they should have kicked on. And they've also achieved on the field at the same time. So in relative, they've actually done okay.
Should we work out how many trophies have been won in the 2 periods?
Oh, it's 5 and 2.
5 and
but
2.
How unlucky, you can't judge that because it's a one-off game. So when you've got to the one-off game finals.
Correct. And when you look at one-off games, you can look at Blackburn and think we didn't turn up on the day we should have beaten Blackburn. You can look at United on penalties, who reached the Champions League final and lost to Barcelona a couple of months after beating us on penalties. And yes, it was a rotated team, but our team was poor. I mean, we didn't have a decent team. Particularly, it wasn't great. It wasn't great. It wasn't as good as the year before.
Hang on, as the moderator, Lubo, I need to just jump in here. When you're saying we had a poor team,
have you got the 2009 team?
Lubo, I've got it. Listen,
compare it to 2008.
Lubo, right? So this is the team that played for Spurs in that cup final against Man United's heavily rotated team, right? Mm-hmm. Gomez in goal, Chorluka, Dawson, King, and Akoto, which is a good back 4 from what we've had. Lennon, Jenas, Modric, Sakura, with Darren Bent and Roman Pavlyuchenko. Now, is it all conquering? No. But Man United had Danny Welbeck, Darren Gibson, Johnny Evans, John O'Shea, Ben Foster, all in their starting 11.
And who else, Sav? Who else? Do you want to read out the United team?
Yeah. They had the likes of Rio and Cristiano Ronaldo on Skulls, but sure. But the point is, Lubo, this is where I agree on the bigger picture. I agree. I think Enic have done a really bad job, but when it comes to winning a final, you and I have always debated this, right? When it comes to winning a final, I don't believe that we can turn around and go, okay, well, we got to the final. Everything's great. We're at the final. Enic are why we lost it.
Yeah.
Now, had we have lost that final 5-0 and been absolutely torn apart by quality, I would say, fuck, we can't compete, right? We can't compete. But we lost that game on penalties. As somebody who doesn't like Enic, and I don't, Lubo, I can't turn around in good faith and say we lost on a penalty shootout, because that's like saying Arsenal lost last night's Champions League final because of the Kroenke.
I agree with you. You're making a point.
Lubo, I haven't talked. You talked for 20 minutes. I've not talked, right? In good faith, I can't turn around and say we lost a game to Man United in a one-off final because of Enic, right? There wasn't really a lot in the game. They then beat us on penalties 4-1. I don't blame Enic for that. I don't blame Enic for Blackburn beating us in a League Cup final. I can't blame Enic for Blackburn beating Tottenham in a League Cup final. I can't blame Enic for the Champions League final. I don't even think Liverpool turned up.
No.
I thought Liverpool were really poor and were there for the taking, but Spurs didn't get going. Now, here's the problem that I have with it, right? Is if we're going to say, and bearing in mind, Lubo, I'll caveat this again. Your bigger picture on Enic, I agree on, and I'll debate Pete on some stuff later. The bigger picture I agree on, right? But in that Champions League run, right, Spurs played Barcelona, who were the Spanish champions, right? Spurs played Inter Milan, who were the Italian champions. Yeah. We played PSV, who were the Dutch champions. Dortmund, who was second in the Bundesliga. Man City, who were the champions the previous year and the current second place in England. And Ajax, who were the current first or second with PSV in Holland. So we've gone through all of that, most of it over 2 legs, to get to a final in a one-off game. And then we're going, if Enic had done better, we win the final. And you're like, well, hang on, how did we manage to knock out Man City over 2 legs? One of the best teams in the world. How did we batter Dortmund? How did we come from behind and beat Ajax? But then suddenly in a final, one-off game, it's on Enic. And that's where I can't agree.
Those one-off games, for me, they're down to players on the pitch. Where I blame Enic is that if we had better players, if they had pushed the boat out more and we had better players, if they'd have bought Mane at the start of the 2016-17 season when he was in Poch's office and wanted to join, but Levy wouldn't pay the wages, Mane would have been playing for Spurs and not for Liverpool.
And what if he'd been injured for the final?
Yeah.
Sorry?
And what if he'd been injured for the final, like Kane was?
Well, listen, we don't know, but who's to say he wouldn't have? He didn't miss that many games through injury.
No, I'm not saying you get my point.
You get what I'm saying. Yeah, I get your point, but you get what I'm saying is that if
everyone that ever loses a final say that, couldn't everybody that loses a final go, if only we had signed X, Y, Z? But they were in the final, Lubo.
I
think it was a one-off game in a final that Liverpool didn't even turn up for.
Right, correct.
By the way, the biggest crime that Enic had during that period was letting Dembele walk out the club. He should have been locked down and secured for the next couple of years. And if you're going to let him go, then they should have invested properly to replace him. Forget Mane. We had Son. We don't need Mane. We've got probably the best left attacking winger in the league at that point. So we didn't need him. We had goals left, right and centre. What we needed to do was get either Moussa Dembele secured and hold on to him for another couple of years, or we needed to go out and get a proper replacement. Now, you know that I'm fairly balanced when it comes to Enic, but they had responsibility of people below them they'd employed. Their biggest fumble was getting the likes of Lang, Paratici, Levy, and now Vinay to run the club and not having somebody moderate it properly. Because if you'd have gone and got the correct people to run the club, that were buying the correct players, then you could have got half of these early. Brighton and Brentford do it on a shoestring budget. We throw so much money at the club and so much money at the squad, and we spend it on players that we don't need to spend it on. Archie Gray at £40 million. What?
Yeah, but just before we go down that road of the players, I want to ask a question about this trophy piece. Just hypothetical. It's all up. People in the chat go, it's hypotheticals. Of course it's hypotheticals. We're football fans, right? Like, we live in hypotheticals.
Yeah.
I'll ask you this question, Lubo. So, from my memory, the finals that we've lost in the Enic era are, we lost to Man City under Mason. We lost to Chelsea under Poch. Man United under
Redknapp.
Blackburn under Hoddle, and I think we lost one more under Poch, didn't we? But anyway, we lost 5. We lost
was
5.
That the Chelsea League Cup final?
Okay.
Was that
so we lost 5, right? Let me ask you this question: Had we have won that penalty shootout against United, right? And had we have, I can't even remember who got the Blackburn winner. I can't even off top. Was it Cole? Was it Andy Cole? Somebody, York Cole, not York. Cole. Anyway, and had we have not lost that game, so let's say we beat United on penalties, right? And we'd beaten Blackburn, who we should have beaten.
Yeah.
Would that have changed people's opinions on Enic? Because now all of a sudden, hang on, we won 4 trophies.
Yeah, the balance is better.
Years, and the average change is now doubled the number of wins. Just asking.
My point, would it have? It would have soothed it a little bit, but my opinion that they didn't push themselves and stretch themselves, and we were always 2 or 3 players short, wouldn't have changed, because that's fact. That's fact.
And I agree with you, but that's the bigger picture. I'm just talking about the trophy haul could have looked very different if it wasn't for finals, right? So, for example, as I said, I thought the Blackburn final was pathetic. I thought we were terrible, right? And I thought we had a more than good enough team to win that day. I thought the Liverpool Champions League final for me was, I felt that it was almost a kick in the teeth to the fans, that there was this great big build-up. There was this great big hype about we've got to the Champions League final, we've got to Madrid. And I just didn't think we got going. I thought that Poch picked the wrong team, if we're going to be honest. I think there's been semi-finals, Lubo, where Poch, for all of his brilliant coaching, there were semi-finals where Poch picked teams and I went, what are you doing? Like, that never gets talked. What are you doing, mate? Like,
Sonny at left back.
Sonny at left wing back. The year after or the year before against United, he put Walker and Lloris on the bench, and it was like, so.
Who's the goalkeeper for oh Christ, it's on tip. My son. Vaughan, Michel Vaughan.
Is it Vaughan?
The winning goal went under his body, didn't it?
Yeah. So by the way, I agree on the bigger picture. I just think that the trophy haul for me in terms of cups, not leagues, is very, very subjective to the day. So, for example, when people say, look at the benches of the clubs night and day, right? When people say, but if we had ex-players, well, last year we all sat and watched Crystal Palace defend for their lives and nick a 1-0 win against a superior Manchester City team.
Yeah.
Last year, we all watched the league champions Liverpool lose to Newcastle United in a League Cup final, right? So when we're saying, but if other clubs managed to find a way in their one-off game to over. Now, I'm not saying the underdog's going to win every time, but other clubs seem to be able to do it. We don't.
But look at the other finals, Sav. I mean, we had City in 2021 in the League Cup final.
Sure.
I mean,
that's level, though, isn't it? No one expects us to beat Man City.
Correct. And in fairness, nobody expects us to beat Chelsea either in the League Cup.
No, sure.
2-0.
Sure, I agree with you.
Because the level of our squad was that much lower than the opposition.
Completely agree. But it is a one-off. Okay. Right. Tell me, which year did we beat Chelsea in a cup final?
67. And
no. Recent. 08, right?
Right.
Look at the two teams. Whose team you picking, Chelsea's or Spurs?
But I think correct. You know, you're looking at players like Drogba. Was Ballack in that team? I think that is Terry, Carvalho. That a superb team, but like Newcastle had a certain amount of quality in their team that was able to turn it on the day and take advantage of a below par Liverpool. I think we did the same in 2008. You know, we had people like Berbatov.
This was their team.
At the back.
But Lubo, this was their team, right? Their team was Peter Cech in goal.
Yeah.
Aletti, Terry, Carvalho, and Wayne Bridge, with Mikel, Lampard, and Essien, Anelka, Drogba, Sean Wright Phillips. On the bench, they had Kalou, Ballack, Joe Cole, Carlo Cudicini, and Alex, right? Mm-hmm. So that squad, whichever way you look at it, was superior to ours.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Right?
Like City's was with Palace, like Liverpool's was with Newcastle.
Right,
yeah.
Right.
If a team dips on a day, another team plays way above their level, then you can win. And the fact that we are playing way above our level, we shouldn't be that far behind Chelsea in terms of quality, albeit we won that day. That's my point. I'm just saying that if we were buying better players right the way throughout the Enic tenure, then for me we'd be much stronger every single year. You're doing better. You're doing better in the league every year, so you're attracting better players the following year.
You can't expect us to compete financially with over a period of time where Chelsea had the millions upon millions of Abramovich. Man City have got the millions upon millions of the owners that they've got over there. Newcastle have got the millions, even though they are hamstrung by PSR. Villa have spent an awful lot of money generally. There's been an awful lot of money spent beyond what we can do. But Chelsea and Man City, for two, are two people that have cheated their way over the last 20 years and have got away with it.
Okay.
Like, if they had not have cheated the way that they have, we would be a lot further up, and it's potentially cost us titles.
Okay.
For starters, they wouldn't have been able to have Eden Hazard against us when he scored the goals that knocked us out of the league title running that we had with Leicester.
Pete, let me ask you a question. Before Lubo comes in on that. And again, please, everyone in the chat, please know there's certain things I'm going to ask questions. It doesn't mean I believe it, right? It doesn't mean I believe it or don't believe it. I'm just moderating, okay? Pete, let's assume we live in a world where Chelsea aren't taken over by Abramovich in 03.
Right?
So Chelsea don't have Abramovich money. They're still in the old era. And Man City aren't taken over by the
2008.
Okay. What do you think the last 20 years would have looked like for Spurs, Pete, had those two clubs not walked into, I want to say oil money, but whatever, just
ridiculous money. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it would have been a much more even playing field. They would have been able to push on a lot more. In terms of the investments, we would have been able to compete a lot better financially when it comes to wages. The transfer fees would have been a bit more achievable, because them two being the way that they are, push the transfer fees and the wage budgets across the whole league and Europe well beyond what we'd ever seen. And it stayed up there. And it's all started from them two going on and on and on and on with how much they were willing and able to spend. Whereas if we'd have been able to be in a position where it was a bit more even, then we'd have been able to get in that little bit of an extra player, this little bit of an extra player. If I remember correctly, we went in for Eden Hazard, and then a year didn't quite pull it off. A year later, he's at Chelsea. How did they manage to pull that off? Because they were financially cooking books, and they'd done it back then. So there are numerous players through the time that we've gone in for, not quite got, and then they've been able to pull it off in the background. It's not quite as simple as going, oh no, that doesn't work, it doesn't work. Like, we've had that opportunity and we've not been able to do it.
No,
sorry, my phone's going on.
Pete, I'll answer you very simply. It comes back again. Listen, it's their money. They own the club. But they have never stretched. They could have competed, maybe not at the same level money-wise, but they could have competed a lot more than they chose to. Now, the club, I'm not sure about the last couple of years, but up to 2 years ago, the most profitable Premier League club between August 92 when it started and June 24 was Tottenham Hotspur Football Club, the most profitable.
Yeah.
So when Charrington says, we've just been concentrating on, I say in so many words, the wrong things, 50% the wrong things, because the statements this week admitted that they have not been concentrating on the football. They are profit before glory, and this is so Pete. Regardless, if you're not prepared to compete, with these clubs, no guarantee of winning. But if you're not prepared to compete, you're not in the game. You might win the odd trophy. You might win the odd trophy, which we have. We won 2 in 26. But we're not winning trophies on the same level. 7 in 25 is 1 in 3.5 years. Okay, sorry, 5 in 25. Yeah, 5 in 25, 1 every 5 years. We're now 1 every 13 years, Pete.
Right. So now, if we add in those two finals, and just assume that half the finals that we've lost, we could have won. So we'll put in Blackburn and Man United, because let's be fair, finals are 50-50, could easily have gone either way. Let's be blunt about this. We have built exactly what we were told we were built. You can be upset about it if you like, but the business model that was brought in and what we were told was going to happen They were going to come in, they were going to improve the infrastructure. They have done. The training facilities have got better. The stadium's out of this world.
Okay.
And they were going to push the club on. And then they said, from that point, they were then going to look to boost the profits and sell it on. They have made a self-sustainable model for the business that will go on and on and on and on and on. They've basically secured our future for the next 20 to 25 years comfortably through their actions. So you can be upset about the fact that we've not pushed it on in the football-wise for the last, call it 5-10 years. They took an understandable break on spending when the stadium was being built because they have to turn that profit around. And it's about being self-sustainable. In exactly the same way that Arsenal took a small break in what they were spending, Everton have lowered what they're spending. And they're having their stadium built because in order to spend the amount of money they have, you've had to balance the books. But what we're now looking at and what they've openly told you is we've done all of our building. We've built the infrastructure. Now what we're going to do is we're going to spend the money and increase what I would call the advertising board, which is the players. Because the moment that we're back up and we're running and we're actually doing well in the league is the moment that they're advertising the club at its fullest, and that's the moment that we get rid of them. So if you want them to be got rid of, you have to hope and pray that what they're going to do is exactly what they've told us, is that they're going to spend them funds on the players and push the club up the league table now that they've built the hardest bit to do.
Can I ask? Let me ask you a question. Listen, I find it funny because listen, I would love new owners to come in. I absolutely would. I just can't blame Enic for every little thing. My question would be this. As a club that didn't challenge for titles pre-Enic, why are we frustrated that we're still not challenging for titles post-Enic? So the way I look at it is this. There's two ways of looking at this. Somebody at some point has to join the big boys, right? So let's say there's a hierarchy in everything. Do we agree with that, right?
Yeah.
So if you look at the world of mobile phones, right, there's a hierarchy. O2, right, Vodafone, right? These companies are at the top. And every now and then someone comes along and goes, we've got the brand. We're challenging Samsung. Yeah. We're challenging.
Yeah.
Right. Who other than Spurs? Take Spurs out of this question. If we look at the big boys of football, right? Sorry for everyone if you're really sad and going to get offended by this. If we look at Arsenal, United, Liverpool, the big boys of English football for the last 50 whatever years, right? Who has actually gone and joined them?
Villa.
Chelsea and City.
Chelsea and City.
And,
right?
and Chelsea and City have replaced Spurs and Everton in the big five.
Okay. So, and again, this is devil's advocate here, right? This is devil's advocate. So isn't it one thing that we could say, well, hang on, the only two clubs that have gone and joined those three big clubs are clubs that have been taken over by
financially steroided clubs.
Vast amounts of money. Like when we're not talking about, I mean, this is crazy for me to say as a normal human being with a normal job. We're not talking about someone that's only got 5 billion like Joe Lewis. That sounds such a weird sentence, doesn't it? He's only got 5 billion, that lad. We're talking about the money Roman had, the money Roman Abramovich had at Chelsea at the time, for the money that the Mansours have got at Man City. Why? My question is this. Sorry, long-winded. Why hasn't anyone else then done what we wanted Enic to do? Why has nobody else, without that level of money, why has no one else built their club and pushed in to challenge the echelon at the top of the league? Why?
Because they haven't had the money, Sav.
Have we?
Yes, we have. We've had the money.
To those levels? To
those levels. Well, listen, Arsenal were not Chelsea and City. Nor Liverpool, and if we are the most profitable Premier League club between 93 and 24, then we did have money. We just chose not to spend it. We chose not to stretch ourselves.
I was just asking a question, by the way. I'm not saying I believe it.
That's the point. I just want to make 2 points. One, just because we've mentioned Abramovich. Someone I know was telling me the story about how a friend of his arranged for the Abramovich interview with Daniel Levy. And then straight after the interview with Levy, the meeting with Levy, he then went straight to Chelsea and met Ken Bates. And Levy didn't believe. This is the story the guy told me, because he was very close to the guy that put the whole thing together and arranged the cabs and the taxis, or dropped them off. He didn't believe Abramovich had the money. Didn't even do his homework on Abramovich to check whether he had the money. And Abramovich went straight from Spurs over to Chelsea. And interestingly enough, we mentioned about Chelsea. What would Chelsea have done without Abramovich? Well, Chelsea were 3 days off being called in by the banks because they owed so much money. So Chelsea could have gone back. Chelsea were 3 days from going bankrupt.
Isn't that exactly where we were?
It was in all the paper.
Before we go on, two bits of news that regard Spurs that's out in the world at the moment. One is that Alistair Gold has confirmed that Alfie Devine apparently has up to 8 clubs interested in him.
Wow.
So that they include Preston, obviously, Celtic, and Wolves. So just to let you know that I thought it was shut and dry. He was going to Preston, but apparently there's 8 clubs interested. The other bit of news coming out today is that it looks very much like Spurs aren't going to take up the option to buy Paulinho, and he is going to move to Sporting Lisbon. Again, don't shoot me. This is just, I'm not in the know. It's just the news that I'm getting here. Just thought I'd share that as you were.
Cheers, Sam. I broke my heart there, mate. Thanks very much. Bye-bye, Paulinho. I love you.
Apparently they want a fourth keeper instead, Pete.
Oh, okay.
Can I ask Pete a question, Pete? Because you talk about Tottenham being Enic have built this financial, very stable model that's going to take us forward for 25 years.
Yeah.
Had we lost against Everton, how sustainable is that financial model?
Oh, it would have taken a bit of time to recorrect. You're not wrong in that, but we'd have bounced back up. There would have been
Would we?
Of course we would.
Any guarantee? Leicester fans.
There's no guarantees on anything. There's no guarantees.
You said it very convincingly. You were like,
because I truly believe that we would have done within 3 years, and that there's been enough put in that we would have been able to pull that back the other side. But if you're sitting there going, "Why are we in a really precarious position?" I was like, "Yeah, you're right." But as I've said to you off of here for quite a while, this is why they will spend the bloody money this year, because their financial investment was on the verge of a massive drop. And the only way to ensure that it doesn't happen again is to reinvest correctly. So they will now spend a lot of money to make sure that they never have to worry about that ever again. Because as you said, we've got the money there.
Do they know? I don't disagree. Just in the middle. Do they know how to reinvest properly? I've got no doubt. Let me just add on. I've got no doubt after that scare this year, I've got no doubt Enic are going to spend a vast amount of money this summer. Yeah. That I never worry that they're going to spend money, because they always spend money, right? But do we trust them after years and years of shit transfer windows? Do we truly believe that this summer we're going to get to the end and go, "Oh, that was bloody good"? Do we believe that?
What will tell me that will be what they do next with the director of football situation. We've still got a little bit of time. And if we get rid of, we're hearing a lot of rumours that we're going to get rid of Lange and get Dougie Freeman in. If that happens, we're on. Now, when I say we're on, I'm talking half of these players that we're seeing in this first team won't be in that first team next year. But you also believe with me, and what I've said openly, is our biggest job this year isn't necessarily about what's going in. It's about what we've got to get out. And that, for me, starts with Romero. He's got to go because he's toxic. He's affecting the club mentality within the changing room. He has to leave. There is no discussion point on that. I want him gone, and I'd have sold him already if there was an option to. I want no more than 7 or 8 of these players that we've got in that team that finished the season within that squad by the start of next year, because that's the only way you fix it. And I know it sounds like it's an awful lot of people, and it's impossible.
I love that, but listen. I'd love that. In an ideal world, I'd love Spurs to get rid of 20 odd players and have 7 left. Realistically, in one summer, are we going to be in a position where we go, right, there's 5 or 6 left from last season. You've got 20 new footballers.
Forest and Sunderland have done it recently. There's no reason why you can't. You just start early.
Sure. I get that, but I think the difference is that those clubs are coming up from the Championship, where if they don't make wholesale changes, they're going to go straight back down. So the players that they're getting rid of, Pete, and I agree with you. I agree with you, Pete. You know what I think of this squad, right? But I think it's easier when you're looking at a lot of Championship level footballers, trying to find them clubs when they're worth 10 million, 5 million, and they're on 15, 20 grand a week is very easy.
Yeah.
Right? When you're looking at Spurs players and going, right, okay, we need to get rid of X, Y, Z. Right. You've now got to factor in none of them have had a good year for 2 years. There's going to be clubs that look at that and go, okay. There's going to be clubs that look at them and go, cool, they're on 100, like Solanke on 150 grand a week. Who in their right mind wants to pay Solanke 150 grand a week, just for example, right?
Mm-hmm.
So for me, I get what you're saying, and I'd love what you're saying to be the case. I just don't think it's ever going to be that simple at Spurs unless they start ripping up contracts. And I listen, if Enic do start taking lower salaries, lower transfer fees, I'm all over it, mate. But I need to see it.
Right. Basuma's gone, right?
Yeah.
So
well, let's do
one.
it. Let's do Basuma and Paulinho and Mawani are not going to be there, right?
So that's three. Have you got the squad list up? Can you bring it up through your little electronic that you normally have up?
Can I bring my little squad list up? Yeah, I can bring the squad list up. Why not? 1 second. Hold the line, callers. I did not have this ready. Here we go. Tottenham Hotspur squad.
Sorry, mate. I just thought it'd be easier to work for it.
No, that's all right. Let's go on to tottenhamhotspur.com. Let's have a look at the men's squad. Where are you? Oh, stop trying to sell me shirts. Stop trying to sell me shirts, Tottenham.
It's because you're the only one not in a Spurs shirt. They can see it. They go, right, let's get you one of these.
Right, where's the squad? I don't want the Spurs shirt. I hate, oh, God, everything Spurs do annoys me. 1 second. Keep talking and I'll get it.
Ben Davis is likely to be either moving into the coaching staff or gone. So that's another one. Because he won't be staying. Mawani's gone. Paulinho's gone. Vicario, we know, is wanted abroad, hopefully.
There's 4. Romero, 5.
Yeah. So
one of the strikers will go. 6.
So I've potentially both.
No, you won't get rid of both.
Hang on, who have we got? Let me write this down. So we've got Bissouma, contract gone. Paulinho was on loan. Mawani was on loan. Romero, I think we pretty much know he's going to go.
Yeah.
Right? One of, if not two of the strikers. One of strikers.
Yeah.
So
I would sell him, but it's whether it's realistic. But I think you could get rid of him to one of the newly promoted teams in the league.
Davis, Vicario.
Yeah, so Vicario we expect to go to Italy. Davis is out of contract. Porro, if you want to get rid of him, we wanted.
Bissouma, Paulinho, Romero, Mawani, one striker, Sarr, Davis, Vicario. That's 8.
8. That's 8.
That's 8, right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's a really good start.
Dragoshin?
Gone.
9.
That's 9.
Yeah.
Okay, that's Dragoshin. So that's 9, right?
Solomon? Actually, yeah, I haven't even factored him in. He'll be gone. Stick, one of...
hang on. Let's just, Pete, the loans are separate.
Okay.
Let's try and keep the loans separate. Let's talk about the first team squad. We had, if you take out Gunter, who's on the programme, I think there's 28 names.
Yeah, sorry.
28 names. I think there's about 14 or 15 out on loan that aren't on there. So in total, you got 42, 43 players. You got loads on loan.
But half of those are kids that will just reloan back out, like Mikey Moore. We don't worry about those. Like they're not even part of the squad.
Well, I think Veliz is going more. I would imagine will probably go back on loan. I think for another year.
Yeah.
And then you've got obviously
you trade out Dragoshin in order to get the centre back at Hamburg back in, wouldn't you?
Oh God, yeah. Yeah. Dragoshin out. I mean, you've got to remember that
Anyway, let me bring this up. We'll go through them one by one, right? Okay, so here we go. There's the Tottenham squad, right? Can you see that?
Yes.
Right, do you need me to make it bigger?
I know it's comfortable.
Okay,
Right.
there you go.
Okay, so Vicario gone, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kinski is going to stay, and I'm guessing Brandon Austin will stay again because of
Yeah, it's a squad number. Yeah.
easy. Right. Mickey, we think will stay.
Yeah.
I'd get rid, but yeah.
Romero and Dragosin, we think will go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ashley Phillips.
I think he'll be the fifth centre back.
Do you think?
He could well be.
He needs 5 centre backs. If you're looking at
one game a week.
Well, I don't know. You know, if you've got Senesi, Van der Ven, Danso, Vuskovic, 4,
and Phillips.
4. And Phillips is your fifth.
See, wouldn't Byfield be your fifth as a youngster?
I would stick him out on loan. He's better having a year out on loan, though, isn't he? 17, 18. Phillips has just spent 2 years in the Championship.
He may be. I actually think De Zerbi will probably have a look at certain players before deciding in pre-season, and one of those situations could
but
be.
Even if either one, Byfield or Phillips, one of them stays, one of them goes. So
okay, I'll put a question mark next to Phillips because my question is we always talk about it from a Spurs point of view. If you are Ashley Phillips at this stage in your career and you're told you are the fifth choice at Spurs, which means you're not even making the substitute bench once a week, your agent is going, nah, sorry, get me back to Stoke, get me to Wolves. You know what I mean? You're not sitting around to be fifth choice, are you? If you're Ashley Phillips,
probably not.
Whereas Byfield might because of being a kid, right? I'm just
and he can play in the under-21s. So I mean, he'll be getting regular football.
Right. Okay. So Ben Davis, no more. Adogi to stay.
Yes.
Unfortunately.
To stay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sosa.
Out on loan.
Yeah. Sure. I give him a loan.
It got to be right. You can't have.
You
can't have Adogi, Robertson, and Sosa. Okay. Pedro Porro.
Subject to whether he signs the contract, Sav. That's subject. They've offered him a new contract. If he doesn't sign it, I think they'll move him on.
Let me ask you both. Is there a world in where either of you are actually bothered if he didn't sign and we sold him and got somebody else?
If you can get 50 million for Porro from City, as has been quoted in the press, I'd take it.
50 million is my number.
Me too. I mean, we've seen him for 4.5 seasons now, where I've been a bit like, okay, like it's not like we're losing Carl Walker. Do you know what I mean? It's not like Walker's going and we're going, bloody hell, how are we replacing him?
I think we've already got his replacement in Spence. I don't see any reason why Spence couldn't play as a fullback under De Zerbi for the next season, and then push on from there.
Okay. Rodrigo Bentancur.
Keep.
Yeah. Paulinho, we think is going, right?
Yeah.
Basuma's gone.
Yeah.
Right. This could be an interesting segment. Lubo's favourites, Bergvall and Gray.
Depends how many midfield players they buy. With only 3 competitions, if Gray and Bergvall are literally just going to have bit part game, a position with the squads. Listen, he likes both of them. He said he likes both of them. It all depends whether they're going to get game time. If they're not going to get game time, then you might as well put him out on loan for 12 months.
Bergvall will be loaned. Gray will keep. And the reason they'll keep Gray is because he's just got player of the season. So there will be a massive own goal if they stick him out anywhere. So they'll stick Bergvall out on loan and they'll keep Archie Gray. It's not what I would want them to do, but it's what I think they'll do because of the situation.
Oh, yeah, don't get me wrong. I'd sell both of them in a heartbeat, but I do agree with you. I think Gray's going to stay. And look, I think the difficulty is, I think it's great for Spurs this year, guys, that we're only going to be playing 1 game a week because I think the club needs a bit of, R&R. But at the same time, it's very difficult when you've got 1 game a week to start rotating. It's very difficult to start saying, well, let's just say, I'm just spitballing. Let's say your midfield 3 for the year was Locatelli, just just spitballing, Locatelli, Gallagher, and Maddison, right?
Yeah.
Very difficult to say, right, boys, you're going to play, but only once every 2 weeks. That's going to be your three, right? And then you've got Sarr, Bergfowl, Gray, Bentancur. How do you get all of these players into one starting 11 once a week, right? You just can't.
That's the problem. That is the problem. That's why I think the knife will be coming down by De Zerbi on a lot of players. He'll bring back the loan players to have a look at them in pre-season, because no manager worth their salt is going to let a kid go out just in case he loses a gem. So he'll want to have a look at all of them. Then he'll make a decision. How many of them will stay? I don't think there'll be many out of all the kids that have been out on.
I don't see how you find them game time, Lubo. Like, how do you?
That's the problem.
How do you? Let's say Spurs bring in. I don't care about the name. Let's say Spurs bring in Rashford or Savio or whoever it is on the left. How do you then say to Mikey Moore, come back and sit on a bench and get no games? Like, it's really difficult, right? One game a week.
Just to clarify something, Lubo, just to confirm, mate, the Grade 1 player of the season from our supporters, or was that from the club? Just because it's coming up in the chat.
Sorry, say that. I didn't get. Sorry, I didn't get.
Archie Gray, the player of the season he won, was that voted for by the fans, or was that voted for by the players?
That was the fans.
Cool. Sorry, I knew you'd know.
This is why I worry about our fans in a big way. But anyway, let's move on. Conor Gallagher, he's just joined, right? He's not going anywhere. Unless
he'll be captain next year.
I agree. I think he will be. I think he loves it. Do you know what? He's yet another manager. Whatever people say about Gallagher, every manager who manages Conor Gallagher can't speak highly enough about him.
He's got that Caicedo vibe from when De Zerbi was at Brighton, where he was up and down, he was linking the play, and he come up with the occasional goal. I think he's going absolutely nowhere and be the first name on the team sheet. Okay,
Papa Mata Sarr. Surely now, guys, he's been here for 5 years?
5 years.
Yeah, 5 years. Got to go.
No, hold on. Paratici brought him in with Vicario. No, was it earlier?
No, he came in before that.
In which case, he came in with Romero, I think. So he's been 4.5, 5 years.
Right. I mean, you've got to say at this stage,
he's regressed. That's my problem with him. He's regressed as a footballer. He's not kicked on at all.
See, I don't think he's regressed, Pete. I don't see. My worry with him when I first saw him was, listen, he's got a wonderful engine. I don't think any of us can doubt that. He works hard. He'll get in the tackle. But is he that level where you go, this is how we improve with a Papa Sarr in the 11 every week?
No.
Right. And that's got to be the question, right? He's 20. He's 23 going on 24.
Yeah.
He doesn't get a game for Senegal either. He's not getting a game for Spurs. But again, another one we've kept for 4 or 5 years in this vague hope that this is the year, this is the year, this is the year. Do we all agree he should go?
For sure.
Yeah. The good thing is with the way his contract situation is now on, I'm pretty sure it's net zero. So it doesn't matter what we get for him. It's now a positive because he's now off the books. So we can literally take 20 million and get rid.
Yeah. We don't need to discuss Xavi Simons. He is out for 9 months or whatever it is. So he's absolutely going nowhere. Now, Kulu's such an interesting one, isn't it? Because depending on who you speak to, he's either 1 minute away from playing again or he's never going to play again. Like, depending on who you speak to. Is this guy ever going to be the Kulu of old?
Don't think he'll ever play at the top level again.
I don't think we can rely on him, but at the same time, I would leave. I would help him rehab to as far as we can as a club, and then if it gets to a point where there is no progressing forward, then we need to shake his hand, wish him the best, and offer support. But we can't rely on having a squad number for him.
Can I ask the question then, the obvious question? I hope the guys in the chat join in with this as well. if Spurs were going to make Kulusevski available, at what level club is taking the risk on a player that's just literally had his knee? Hasn't he had a whole new knee built?
No club. He won't pass a medical at the moment.
Right. So he's at Spurs for the foreseeable, right?
Yeah.
His kneecap is moving when he walks at the moment.
Ooh,
so is mine, but I'm not a pro footballer, Lubo. My knees barely work now, you know.
Was it the Swedish FA doctor who came out and described his injury?
Yes.
How is he going to come back from that? Seriously?
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's move on from Kulu. Nothing we can do there. Now Maddison's an interesting one because Maddison, he is back fit in terms of running on grass and playing football. And Maddison's slightly different because Maddison had a big injury, bolted onto a big injury, right? Didn't he? Yeah. He had the big injury, came back in pre-season last year for like 2 sub-appearances, then gets an ACL. Same applies, right? Not to the level of Kulu, but same applies. Even if we wanted to sell Maddison, are you getting money for him at this stage in his career and with that massive injury? And can he be the same player next year that he has been?
Yes.
Yes, he can be the same player.
Okay.
Why not? Why not?
Well, look at the effect that he had on the last couple of games when he came on as a sub. He might not be absolute barnstorming, flying straight away next season, but after a good pre-season, decent rehab, his ability on the ball, his eye for a pass, and the way he carries the ball is different to anything else that we currently had to offer. And purely as a squad option, even if you went, mate, you've gone from being a guaranteed starter to we can't trust you to be able to start every game, but we definitely want you in and around the squad. You'll play 1 in every 2 and you'll be off the bench in the others. And he's worth keeping on. I would offer him a 12-month extension.
Yeah. Sorry. People keep saying I keep moving away from the mic. Apologies. So I'm getting too relaxed in my old age. Hopefully that's better.
Hey, he's our best number 10 at the club.
When he's fit.
Lubo, I'm going to go one further. I think hands down, James Maddison's the best footballer at the club by a country mile.
Fully agree, but can we get that out of him?
I don't think anyone else in this football club is anywhere near the levels technically or football brain wise. I don't think anyone's at the level of James Maddison. I just guess the question is, can we get X amount of games out of him next season playing once a week? Can we manage that?
Yeah, that's where I'm at with it.
Well, it should be better for him playing once a week.
It should be.
Hopefully.
Should be. He'll be like Ledley King, Lubo. He'll have to have one of those gas chambers for his knee or whatever for, Monday to Friday. He never trained.
He never trained, did he, Ledley, for the last 2 or 3 years? No. And it just went out every Saturday and played. Goal was a freak of nature. What a player!
Good, wasn't he? Oh, Ledley.
What's a player?
Okay, let's move on for James Maddison. Again, Odegaard, he's out till Feb. So it's a no talking point. Kudus is not going anywhere, is he? He's got to be our right winger next season, hasn't he, guys?
Yeah, absolutely.
Lubo?
I think he might play him further in as a 10 with Maddison. I can see that.
And then what? Have another right winger or some sort of different?
He's after 2 wingers at the moment. So yes, possibly. If he gets the wingers he wants, then
Interesting. Okay. Well, Kudus isn't leaving. Can we all agree on that, right?
Yeah.
I think Kudus is, again, sometimes when a player doesn't play, you realise how good they are. And for everyone who jumped on his back when he was playing, same with Maddison, right? When those 2 haven't played, God, we've looked very painful going forward when those 2 haven't played. Now, these two sort of the earths, Dominic Solanke and Richarlison. Let's start with Richie. Surely, guys, this is now, he's been here 4 seasons. The first one without Kane. The first one was when Kane was here, and then we've had 3 seasons without Kane, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
If we can get somebody to come in for Richarlison, and that's a big if, then he needs to leave.
But why should it be a big if?
32 goals in 133 games in 4 years.
And that's why it's a big if.
Oh, God, he's so bad. Do you know, it's not even his goal scoring, though, Lubo, right? You know, so much we talk about these days is goals and assists. Just watch him as a footballer. It is hard work watching Richarlison play. Like, it's really hard work watching Richarlison play. Don't you think? Or am I the only one?
No. Footballer is a very loose term when it comes to Richarlison.
Do you guys think he'll go, though?
Yes. I think he'll be the one out of the two to go. Because
I'm not convinced we'll get a buyer.
He'll go.
Well, don't Orlando? Is it Orlando? Aren't they in for him?
One of them, I think it was a Brazilian club, possibly in for him for about 21 million euros. I think
that'd be lovely. Can I? Anyone want to chip in for some fuel?
Listen, I'll take him there, mate. I'll absolutely take him there. I think for me, what's worse is that Pete, clubs make bad buys, right? That's not a Tottenham thing. That's a football club thing. Man United, in their greatest eras, bought players like Taby and Cleber, right? And Jemba. They make mistakes. What fucks me off, right? is we went, let's buy Richie. Then Kane leaves and Richie steps up, so to speak.
Yeah.
And then we go, right, let's buy the strikers we didn't the year before. And we then go and get Solanke. It's almost like we hadn't learnt from the Richie signing and we did it again. Just mind blown.
You know who I want in the summer, striker-wise?
Liam Delap?
Jean-Philippe Mateta.
Jean-Philippe Mateta.
Beautiful striker. Solid, holds the ball up well, knows how to get into the right spots to score goals. Absolute quality for what we need right now. All right, he's not going to be the striker that takes you into the Champions League, but he is the centre forward that you can build off and you can rely on him.
Well, Luke,
that's interesting.
Wait,
listen, if you're talking about bringing in a proven forward, for me, I'll bring in Saul from Crystal Palace.
He's a winger.
Listen, I'd bring him in, but he also scores goals. He cuts in as well.
Okay, but he's a winger.
But if you're talking about, interesting what you said about Mateta, because I'm good friends with a Palace season ticket holder, and when he took me to the game this season, I said to him, "What about? We're just talking of the stars in the Palace team.
Yeah.
And obviously they love Gahey, and he's now gone, and obviously Adam Walton, and he said to me, watch Walton play, and watch Mateta play. As soon as Walton gets the ball, he's on the half turn and it's a first time pass. No. And watch Mateta, ball bounces off him the whole time, can't hold it up. And everybody around him agreed. It's funny how people see things differently.
But they're completely different footballers playing in completely different positions, required for completely different jobs.
Correct. I'm just saying that they were the players we were talking about. It was a coincidence that Mateta was one of them, and they don't think he can hold the ball up.
Well, just so you know, guys, so he's played in the last 3 seasons, 104 league games, 42 goals in 104. So I mean, it's good, right? It's good. It's not, you know, I was going to say world class, but I don't think there's many that are actually rattling in ridiculous numbers.
I don't think the world class forwards really exist anymore. There's not that many that are like of that level.
So my question to you is, and everyone in the chat join in. By the way, 794 of you in today. Welcome. Hope you're well. Of that 794, only 189 have smashed the like button. Guys, come on. We're better than this. Well, be better than this. If I was going to ask you this, if I offered you Mateta or Ivan Toney as your centre forward next season, where are you at?
Toney every time.
I don't think there's a lot in it.
Oh, see, do you know what? As much as I love winding up my my learned friend at the top, I've got to agree with him. I think Toney is superior to Mateta. I think he offers a lot more. I would definitely take Ivan Toney.
Yeah,
but he should be.
I'll take them both. Can we get rid of Solanke and Richarlison and just bring in Mateta and Toney and just go from there?
Wouldn't be bad.
do you know what I'd do? I would get rid of both, and I would bring in one of the stature of Tony in terms of physicality.
Yeah.
And I would look for one that has a different skill set, i.e. a bit more of a runner, a bit more of a getting in behind. Because for me, Richie and Solanke, there's not enough variation. There's no one who's a fox in the box. There's no one that runs in behind with rapid pace. I feel we need 1-on-1. Do you know what I mean? Just some variation.
Would you go for Evan Nielsen at Bournemouth?
I wouldn't. I like him. I wouldn't. No, I like him, but no. I like him, but not enough. Would you, Lubo? I'm guessing you would.
I'd take Evan Nielsen in front of Mateta, and Mateta's a decent striker, but you know, listen, we're desperately short. He's looking for two wingers, I hear, and a forward. So let's see.
Someone in the comments has just mentioned Osimhen. Please stop this. Osimhen is not coming to us in a month of Sundays. You've got more chance of Lubo wearing an Arsenal shirt than you have Osimhen signing for Tottenham.
Do you know what? If you want to make a statement as a club, that would be the ultimate statement. If you're Enic and you're saying, right, let's show the fans. I know everybody has just diminished our statements over the past week. Let's show them we mean business. That's the sort of signing you want for them to say, right,
but you've also got to be able to get him, right? Like I always think the question is, okay, let's assume Spurs are going to offer him 350 grand a week. Let's just assume, right?
Yeah.
He's still got to want to go, yeah, that's my destination. Because a player like Osimhen, we know what he's about in terms of money. We also know that he's one of the only goal scorers in the world that guarantees you goals. So I can only imagine that if Osimhen is on the move, that his agent is going to be singling him out to every club.
It'll be batting clubs off left, right, and centre.
Yeah, I agree.
As much as I don't want to say it, it's more likely he rocks up down the road.
But when
I agree. See, now that would be a worry. If Arsenal got Osimhen, that's a worry because he scores goals.
Let me ask you guys a question. Napoli were offering him out to everybody. He ended up at Galatasaray.
Yeah.
Why didn't the big clubs come in for him?
But didn't he want 400 grand a week, Lubo?
And the rest.
Correct. No, 400 grand a week was the figure that was quoted.
Yeah, but it wasn't 400 grand a week plus a goal bonus plus a league title. It wasn't just a straight.
Oh yeah, there was a lot of add-ons.
I don't think that's why I was like, and the rest, mate. It was 15 goals is like 5 million quid. Plus you get if you win the league title, I want X amount of money. Plus I want a percentage of the shirt sales. Yeah, it was just add-on.
I'd love it. Do you know what? This is one of those ones, Pete, where I'm going to sit here and say there's zero chance we get him. I'm more than happy to wake up one day and for Fabrizio Romano to say Spurs are closing in on signing. I just can't see it. I just can't see it. I'd love it. But we don't get players at that level.
Want to change our wage structure. You do, but you don't go from doing 125, 150, 200 grand to like £400,000. Plus you can have all your shirt sales. Plus you can. There's a level of like balance to this, right? You build that slowly and you earn that position. You don't just jump from one to the other. That's how you end up with disparity in the dressing room because there's too much difference in between the players. You put the.
Would you take on Toro Ramos?
Ooh,
which one from last night?
Yeah, from PSG.
Definitely.
The guy sits on the bench week in, week out at PSG.
Yeah.
I'd sooner take Vlahovic.
I mean, you've got Tony, Mateta, Vlahovic, Gonzalo Ramos. I think you've got Burkhardt in Germany, who's scoring goals at the moment. Yeah. You've got
Jurassic.
A player I really like. I really like Pavlidis of Benfica. He bangs in goals every year.
Any two of them six would be lovely.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Any of them.
Sure. But look, we're just fans. We just talk about it. Let's move on to Tell. He's not going anywhere, is he? I think he's going to be at the club, right?
Yeah.
Agreed?
Yeah.
Okay. Again, next year is going to be really interesting with Tell because if you go and get, which we need to, a top left-sided player and a striker, again, how does a player like Tell get games?
He fights his way in.
Sure, but can he?
No, but that's what I'm out of excuses for these players that we've got this year. You've got no automatic right to that shirt. You go and earn it, and if you can't earn it, you bugger off, because you don't have an entitlement to wear a Tottenham shirt because you were signed. You have an entitlement to have a chance to earn your way into the team. It doesn't mean you have to be in it.
Yeah. Anyone talking about Julian Alvarez in the chat? Again, give you a little heads a wobble. Barcelona, by the way, are not fucking about. they are not messing about at the moment. They're in talks with. They've signed Gordon. They're in talks with Bernardo Silva, and there's lots of rumours that they're going to get Julian Alvarez as well. They are revamping Barcelona. They're back. Barcelona are back, baby.
How and where from, by the way?
Huh?
How and where from, by the way?
What?
Where have they all of a sudden got this money? They were selling off everything.
But listen, they've gone through some years of not having a lot of money, but they're winning titles. They're going far in Champions Leagues. The money starts coming back, doesn't it? You know, I always say, people always go to me, there's no money in other leagues. These clubs seem to find money. You know what I mean? Okay, Mawani, anyone making any form of case for that man to be re-signed?
He's never wanted to be at the club, has he? And the way he plays shows. So absolutely. Not for me. Not for me. Listen, there's a player in there, but not at Tottenham, because he's got no interest here.
Agreed. And I think that's what happens, Lubo, when you make last day transfer window loans. It is, what are you left with as opposed to what did you want?
Correct. Yeah. Instead of sending Solanke in for an op at the last week of July, when he should have, when he got the injury.
Yeah.
But let's be fair, Lubo. If Spurs had anything about them last summer, and hopefully we do it this summer, somebody should have turned around and gone, right, we've just nearly got relegated. Richie and Solanke need to go. Let's get a proper centre forward. And we didn't. Do you know what I mean? We didn't. And that's why they've got to do it. We cannot, Lubo. If Spurs start next season with our two striker options being Richie and Solanke, do you agree with me that nothing has changed?
Not up front, it wouldn't be. It'd be just as bad. If we got a couple of wingers plus Kudus, Maddison's back and fit, then obviously the team's improved. But I think we're also in a better position this year than last year. Frank came in second week of June, I think, and then 6 weeks later told everybody that the way he sees transfer targets and the way he plans the strategy for looking at what's suitable for Spurs doesn't align with the way that Lang has it. So you're into where were we now? August when he came out with that. So the transfer window's nearly gone. Now, De Zerbi's had the best pre-season you could ever wish to have. He's had 7 games with a club in the shit. He's looking at players for character, because it's not just about talent, it's about mentality, character, desire. And he can see, and he didn't play the way he wants to play because he had 7 games to get us out of trouble. So it's a question of him putting together the style that the team are comfortable with, and then making sure that they defended better, made less mistakes, and dug out the points based on that, because we didn't have the creativity, did we? Simmons then got injured as well. Kudus got injured as soon as De Zerbi came, or sort of re-injured, should I say. Yeah. So he wasn't left with any choice but to work with a certain system that made it difficult for the other teams to score. And we finished up, number 1 in the table for conceding the least amount of shots on target in the last 7 games. So for me, De Zerbi identified what he had and what he didn't have, and what he could work with at the club. And he knows now for this coming season, it's a brilliant position because he knows who he wants and who he doesn't want.
Right. So let's round off a few Spurs players, and then I've got a few questions about different scenarios.
Cool.
Dane Scarlett. I mean, I mean, not good enough. Right? Can we get to the point where we realise that this boy doesn't even score goals out on loan in Scotland? Like, you know, he's 20.
His contract needs cancelled. He's just done, isn't he? It's same. It's just not there.
I mean, his contract runs out. He's got another year. He's got another year.
Just cancel it.
You think so?
They'll get a couple of million from a Championship club or a League One club.
No.
See, I don't think
performed out on loan in League One.
I don't think the Championship club takes him. I'll ask you this: where does Dane Scarlett go and score goals on a regular basis in the Championship? Because I don't even think he's as good as Lancashire, who was playing for relegated Oxford.
No, I don't. I think Lancashire's different level to Scarlett.
I agree.
And I think
it doesn't mean he's Premier League ready, though, Lubo. He still needs
it doesn't. No, it doesn't. But
I agree with both of you. Yeah.
Well, I'm sure De Zerbi will want to have a look at Lancashire before he makes a decision whether to.
Yeah, of course he will. And then he'll be off down to the Championship again. It might well end up like a mid-table Championship team this time.
Listen, some of these boys are Championship level, but I'm sure he'll want to have a look at all of them before he makes that decision.
Scarlett's going, right? Okay.
Pete Smith just said he'll take him at St Johnstone. Sold. I'll drive him. Job done. Thank you very much.
See, I'm going to make a statement. People are going to think I'm mental. I've seen Bromley a number of times. Go on, Bromley, by the way. League One champions. Go on, League Two champions.
Michael Chick.
I don't think Scarlett would stand out in League One for Bromley. I genuinely don't. When I watch Scarlett, I watch him and go, I don't know why you're, you know. Anyway, so Scarlett's going, right, Donnelly, got to go, any Lubo. I know you love him, but there's no place at Spurs for him, is there?
I can't see it.
Alone, surely.
It's a shame. I like Donnelly, but I think he'll go.
Scarlett, Devine, right?
Yeah.
Okay, Dorrington.
He'll go.
Yeah,
okay.
he's got to go.
Where's he going to get game time?
I agree.
Spurs.
I agree. Takai.
Again, he's got to go.
Has anyone ever seen this man alive?
No.
Is he actually real, or is he just somewhere that we're pumping
He is
money
real.
as a tax avoidance?
But no, Pete, he was bought because Levy wanted the Far East business, didn't he? You know, like Sonny was like massive, and they bought Yang as a future replacement for Son.
Okay, but could we not have got the lad that's at Bayern Munich? You know, the big old centre half that they've got is Korean.
Oh, Kim Min
Jong.
Yeah.
Could have had him for 15 million. Conte said
okay.
no.
So that leads me on to, right, so that is, if they all go, right, and let's assume Phillips does as well, that is Basuma, Paulinho, Romero, Moani, Richie, Sarr, Davis, Vicario, Dragosin, Scarlett, Donnelly, Devine, Dorrington, Phillips. That's 14 footballers that are here now that could move on. Now, realistically, out of those players, where are you getting money? Vicario?
Yeah.
You'll get 20 million there. 15.
Romero?
45.
You're getting nothing for Basuma, nothing for Paulinho, nothing for Moani, nothing for Davis. 15, 20 million for Dragoshin?
Yeah, say 15 million. That's 75.
Cut 2 mil for Scarlett, $1 mil for Scarlett.
7.
5-6 million for Devine.
No, I think they'll probably get more. If 8 clubs are in for him, he could go.
Can we?
He could go for about 10 million.
Can we though? If Preston have already got a set fee agreed, then the fee is that money.
Yeah, but for Preston it is, yeah. But that's provide. Listen, if you're Devine, right? Let's be brutally honest about this. If Celtic or Wolves want you and Preston want you, surely your third choice is Preston. No.
Okay, so this is how this works. Preston go, here's your £5 million. Celtic, were you willing to pay 10? I love you. There's £5 million in Preston's pocket. It will just be an instant profit. So we'll get cut out of the process.
No, that won't. No, hang on. No, this is not Football Manager. You think that Preston will buy him for $5 million and then sell him on for 10 to Celtic?
We've seen it happen in real life before, yeah.
No.
No, seriously.
Clive
No.
Allen?
We've seen it happen.
Clive Allen?
Yeah, sure. It's 2026.
We've seen it in my lifetime where players have been bought and
So
then sold
Pete,
off.
You're telling me that someone from Celtic is ringing up someone from Preston and saying, listen, hush, hush. Tell you what, you guys buy him for 5.5 million, which is your buy clause. Tell him that you're buying him. Then the very next day, we'll bid 10 million to you for Divine.
Yeah, pretty much.
No.
It literally happens. Is it Dietmar Hamann?
No.
Remember, was it? He signed for a club and then a day later signed for somebody else.
No, that's not. Listen, I love
Google
it.
it.
I can't
Google
see it. Okay. All right. Let's assume that crazy thing doesn't happen, right? If you're Divine, Celtic want you, Wolves, there's other clubs, but Celtic or Wolves or Preston, where are you going?
Celtic.
Lubo, where are you going? Celtic, Wolves or Preston?
Celtic are much a much bigger club. I suppose you go there, wouldn't you? Because Wolves in the if Wolves are in the Premier League, that might be a decision. But with Wolves in the Championship, why would he go from one Championship team to another Championship team?
Sure.
It's a sideways move.
Wolves will still have some money because they've sold a lot of players on the parachute payments and will be fancy to come back up. So it might be, and it's Molineux. I'm just spitballing.
Yeah.
He's going to have I think he's going to have bigger options than Preston, but I don't think he's Premier League ready.
They haven't said who the other 5 clubs are, have they? They said
no.
Clubs.
I mean, it could be Arsenal and City and Chelsea, and we don't know, right? We just don't know. Okay, so look, I think from all those players, there's a good 120 million that we could make in selling them.
Yeah.
And if you're clearing 14 players, you don't need to replace all 14 because you've only got 1 game a week.
Yeah.
So my next question is, and this is the one that has been talked about all year, is whufc. It started off at the beginning of this year of a lot of, I'm only staying at Hamburg. I want another year here. I want to play my brother. And lately, I don't know if you've noticed in the last few weeks, the reports coming out of whufc has been, oh no, I'm a Spurs player. I'd love to play with my brother, but it's not going to happen. I'll be back at Spurs. So do we see him being in the Spurs squad next season?
Yes.
Lubo?
Yes, 100%. I see him starting.
His third choice.
Who's he starting instead of?
I personally think if my back 4 for the start of next season will be Porro or Spence, depending on whether Porro signs a new contract. Because if he doesn't, and you're basically saying he wants away, then I think there'll definitely be interest in Porro, and Spence will start.
I know him too well. He's about to say Senesi and whufc at centre half
and
with
Van de Ven
at left back. I knew it.
Yep.
I knew you were going to go with that.
Yep.
Okay, in which case, why are we keeping a doggy?
Because you need,
we need what? We've already got Robertson. Why are we keeping a doggy?
Think you're bringing in Robertson to not start him and play Van de Ven at left back? Just a discussion point.
Do you think Robertson's going to be a regular? I can't see him being a regular.
Of course he is. Otherwise, why would he leave Liverpool?
I think too many people are making out like he's 38 and not played for years. I think Liverpool have not looked better without him this year.
This is
why I'm convinced Van der Ven's actually off. I think you'll be looking at, we'll sell Van der Ven after the World Cup. We'll let him boost his value and he'll disappear. Robertson will start at left back. Senesi will start left centre back. Dancer will be right centre back. And then you'll have Spence on the right back. We will lose both centre halves this window because you cannot expect Senesi to play right sided centre half. It's not natural. And you'll end up with a mess. He's not going to come here and sit on the bench. Van der Ven will be off. I'm convinced. I'm so convinced on it. It's beyond, it's there. It's in front of you.
Well, it'll be interesting because Van der Ven's family and Van der Ven are all Liverpool fans. And depending on who the next manager is, and
Areola.
Does he want to?
Plettenberg posted that 9 minutes ago, funny enough, and I didn't know this, so it's one of those things that's worked. A new loan for Vuskovic to Hamburg is currently not a topic. No talks, no negotiations. He also confirms on news saying a return is impossible to Hamburg. At the moment, there are two options: a long-term contract extension with a top salary at Spurs, or a move to one of the biggest clubs in Europe. Talks ongoing. Now, this is interesting, right? Because one, we're talking about new contract, big salary. That's cool. But when we're talking about a big club coming in for him, what sort of fee is that going to be? Like, does anyone how do you put a number on that?
It'll be about the same as Romero, surely.
Be more than Romero. This kid's 18, 19, and Romero's 28. Be a lot more than Romero.
But he's not as proven in terms of how a lot of Europe will see it.
Wait and see. Wait and see how he performs in the World Cup. He could be an absolute star, and all of a sudden his
good
feet.
Point.
Yeah, that changes the grounds, though, doesn't it?
Mm.
Yeah,
but it's going to be interesting, right? Because defence almost feels pretty sorted by the 31st of May, and what I mean by that is you've got Porro and Spence. So unless one of those goes, you've got your two right backs. You've got Robertson and Udogie, and unless one of those goes, you've got two left backs. Yeah. And at the moment, it looks like you've got Van der Ven, Senesi, Vuskovic, and Danso. Unless Van der Ven goes, you've kind of got your four main centre-halves. So it feels very much that the back line, those eight, is kind of sorted, right? Or am I being wishful?
No, that's fair comment. That's fair comment.
Yes, and that's basically it's if we lose one, then we lose one. Do you know what I mean? Like Van der Ven or Udogie, depending on which one of those two drop out. So whether you would then move Van der Ven to left back or whether you sell Van der Ven and keep him anyway.
Yeah. Brandon, I'm not sure anyone said that. I think what people were saying was it will probably be either Senesi or Van der Ven or Senesi and Vuskovic. But I don't see a world, guys, in which you bring in a top defender like Senesi and don't play him. Like that would be the ultimate Spursy to me, to bring in a really good. I mean, he's a brilliant centre half for me, by the way, guys. I think he's everything that our current centre halves aren't in terms of consistent, mature, brilliant passing on the ball.
I'll put this to you: the fact that we're only in Europe, the fact that we don't have Europe, should I say, and we're only in the three competitions this year, doesn't mean we can't build a squad and have two proper players for each position, because that's what we've been screaming out for as long as I can remember.
It's not viable.
Sure.
Why is it viable?
Sure.
Why not?
But Pete's right. And I don't know if he was about to say this, but I don't think it's viable, because you've got to ask the question, what top player, if we're saying two for every position that are as good as each other, right? Yeah.
You're not going to get the games.
If you're coming to me and saying, right, Spurs, we're playing once a week. I'm a right winger, right? I'm a right winger. Kudus is our first choice right winger. You're going to be back up to Kudus. In what world am I saying, so one game a week, I'm not guaranteed start, why am I going to Tottenham? And that's the difficulty, right, when you don't have European football to fight for, Lubo.
Well, listen, then we're not going to get... Well, listen, we have always struggled. We've always been those two or three players short, haven't we? And boy, was it shown up with excessive injuries as well. So
I agree.
So until we actually get there and start bringing in these players, and these players are like other. Listen, I know the other top clubs have got Europe this season and we haven't. But if you're promoting a project and players are coming in, I would mix and match. I would be playing Senesi, Van der Ven at left back, Robertson at left back at other times. I just think you can't have too many good players, and that's always been our problem.
No, I agree, but how do
you mentioned about we don't need Mane, we've got Son? That's exactly why Poch didn't get on, because we didn't have
those were years where you had 38 league games plus however many in Europe. We're now talking about we're playing, just for the purposes of this conversation, Spurs are playing every Saturday, right? I agree with you. I'd love a squad of 22 and they're all as good as each other. But if I'm a player and I'm being told, well, hang on, we got Kudus. all right, where do you see me fitting in? Well, you'll have to fight him for that first position. I'd be like, well, why am I leaving my club where I'm playing 90 minutes to, like, do you know what I mean?
All right.
In Champions League or Europa League, you're saying, well, hang on, look, we're playing
60
every
games a
Thursday
season.
and Sunday, and it's difficult.
But hang on, but then if you take it internally, when Simmons is fit, end of the year, he's going to be looking at thinking, we're only playing once a week. Maddison's at 10. Where do I play? So,
of course, and that's going to be the difficulty for De Zerbi to juggle.
Sure. So you can't have 11 players who are much better than the other 11 players, can you? Because that's
but what you can do.
No, but you are going to naturally have a drop off, Lubo, because look. Let's look at them lot down the road, right? Realistically, everyone knows what Arsenal's first 11 is. Realistically, everyone knows what their favoured 11 is, right? And then you've got lots of good players that can jump in afterwards. But they know they've just played 60 games in a season, right? So Eze knows, all right, I'm not playing today. I'm playing in 3 days' time, right? So these better players are going to go, I'm in for it. Same way Man City have rotated players for years under Pep. What I'm saying is the difficulty is if you are playing once a week to try and get top players to join you when you're saying you're not guaranteed first team football is really difficult, because other clubs are going to go, well, we'll pay you the same as Spurs and you're guaranteed.
And you'll play every week. Lubo, this is how I would do it, right? So we've got a winger problem. We know we have a winger problem. So we go and get a left winger. I'm going to get a winger that can play on both sides. So we've got 3 wingers for 2 positions.
Yeah.
Not a problem. Because if we need it, Simmons can drift and play out wide if we have to push him out that way. So he can cover games if there's an injury. You then drop into midfield. Because you're the midfield structure that we've got, we're going to have 5 midfield players that can all fill in. So that's then your 2 for every position, because it's 5 for 6 roles, right? So you then get 2 strikers. There's only 1 striker option. That's your 2. You then get your fullback. Spence doubles up as a right back and a left back, so he can do either. So you then get Robertson, we've got the doggy, you've got Spence, and you've got 1 other potentially. Your centre halves we've already sorted, that's 5. We're not actually that far off what you're saying, but there's a different way to structure it. You don't need to have like 3, 4, 5 players in a different. You just have 3 wingers instead of 4 or 5, and then you build upwards from there.
Can I just say something, Pete? Right. So this comment's very interesting, and I think that the difficulty that you're missing here is, again, as a fan, you're saying this. As a football fan, if I'm a player, my agent isn't taking that for an answer, right? This is the difference between fans and agents. If you come to my agent and say, Spurs want Sava, right? The first question I'm asking is, what's my game time, right? What's my pay? What's my game time? Who else you bringing in? Yeah. What's the plan? All of these different things get answered. Now, if you're telling me you're competing with him for that spot, I've now got to take that into consideration. So now I might go, hang on, my agent's going to go to Newcastle and go, Newcastle want you as well. Okay, what are they saying? Well, they're going to give you the same wages. They're guaranteeing you are the right winger for the season. I'm just spitballing, right? Because it's different for every conversation. But this is why I think it makes it really, really difficult to balance 2 top players. For me, this year should be about sorting out the 11. Like, we haven't even got a good 11 before we're even talking about 22 players. We haven't even got a good 11. We don't have a left winger. No. We don't have a striker. We don't have a ball-playing midfielder.
No.
We don't have a good goalkeeper. Like, we've got, first of all, can we sort out first 11? That's what I just think it's going to be. I agree with Lubo. I just think it's going to be really difficult to get that. And that is why, when I said, Lubo, just now, do we agree Tell's staying? We all went, yeah. Why is Tell staying?
Personally, I sell him. But how did you get rid of?
I know, but that wasn't. I'm asking, why is Tell staying? Because he'll be the one that goes as an understudy to a top left winger, right?
Correct. Yeah.
So you're not selling Tell and bringing in 2 top left wingers. You're bringing in Lookman, Rashford, whoever on the left as the top left winger and going, right, tells you your understudy. And then the drop-off is massive, right?
And you can't change that probably for a year until hopefully we can get into the Conference League or the Europa League.
Yeah.
And then with the extra player, then you can spend the bigger money on better players.
Yeah.
And then you're going to build your squad, which is
Look,
why
I make you right, Lubo, in a 5-year plan.
This is a 3-year plan, guys. This is 6 transfer windows to turn this whole squad around. If the Lewis family stick to their word of what they said last week, this is 6 windows to put the whole thing together. You've got to remember that Arteta has got his squads. They're winning the Premier League, and they're just a little bit short in Europe. And they'll go back again. He's had 12 transfer windows and 6 years.
Yeah.
So,
and in his first transfer window, he did not get 2 players in every position, right?
No.
And this is my point. It's only in the last few years that Arsenal have added the depth. So I don't expect Spurs in one summer to go from the shit show we've been to, we've got 2 players in every position playing once a week. I think this first year you're going to have to see the likes of Tell and maybe Bergvals. I think you're going to have to. As you get better and hopefully get back into Europe, that's where I think Spurs need to then be ruthless. But at the same time as Spurs being ruthless, fans need to grow a bit of a backbone and be ruthless as well and stop worrying about their favourite player. I don't care. Sell who you want. If the manager don't want them, sell them. Yeah.
Can we start being realistic as well about who we're going to be able to get in? I've seen so many random supporters. Sandro Tonali, Osimhen, Rafael Leao. The chances of getting half of these players are next to none. Realise where we're at, who we're realistically going to get in, and how we're going to do it. We need to start doing what Villa have done, what Brighton have done. Not going down and picking up Sandro Tonali from Newcastle. On what level? How are we ever going to get Sandro Tonali through the door?
I mean, if you get him, again, that falls into the bucket, Pete, of things are different, right? But I agree. If I'm Sandro Tonali right now, again, I talk about agents a lot because agents are so important in this, right? If Spurs pick up the phone to Sandro Tonali's agent and go, we want him at Spurs, the first thing Sandro Tonali's agent's going to do is start going, Arsenal, Chelsea, Liverpool, City. Listen, Sandro's possibly on the move. What you saying? Or do you know what I mean? And this is the difficulty. So do we get him because none of the others want him? Maybe, but I agree with you. I think I can't see it.
I was surprised nobody else apart from us and Newcastle went for Maddison when he got when he left Leicester. It happens, doesn't it? It does happen. For some reason, clubs don't go after a specific player. Eriksen, you'd have thought when Spurs bought Eriksen, all the top European teams were looking at him. We were the only club that went in for him.
Adam Wharton's that one this year. If we're gonna go and get somebody of that ilk, it'll be this year and this year only for Adam Wharton, because the rest of them have started to pick up on other players. So this is the year to make that move. If we don't make it this year, we'll lose it.
But did you see Ornstein came out yesterday and said that Arsenal's big money move this summer is probably going to be for a number 8? I think that's got Tonali written all over it.
Yeah.
I might be wrong. I just think Tonali is going to just suit Arsenal. I do. I just think.
We'll see. We'll see. It's interesting. We talk about would the club make a statement signing? If the Lewis family sold the club to new owners, then you'd be waiting to see. If the new owners came in and said, right, we're going for it, we're not here to mess about, you'd be looking for them to make that statement signing, wouldn't you?
Sure, but the difference is, Lubo, what can the level of that statement signing be? That's because statement signing is a very broad. Okay, let me ask you: is Sandro Tonali a statement signing?
For us at the moment, probably is, yes.
Okay.
But he's not viable.
Is Adam Wharton signing. Is Adam Wharton a statement signing?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. And what do you think the chances of getting either of those two players are this summer?
Sandro Tonali 0, Adam Morton, if we went in for him, 50-50.
Okay. Lubo?
Probably the same. You know, there are. I think we're probably looking at other people who I think are pretty good. Walton, I think, would probably be one. Yes, I think they would look at Walton possibly. Listen, we need a 6. If Palhinha is going back to Lisbon, then we need a 6. We also need an 8.
Yeah, but the 6 would be Walton, right? The 6 would be Walton, and we play in a different way.
Yeah,
that's why, Lubo. You know, I know so many are upset about losing Palhinha. I'm not. I think we need to evolve. I think we've got to keep up with the Joneses. None of these clubs are playing an out-and-out DM. None of them. I think
you saw. Listen, I would have voted. In fact, I did. So sorry, would have done. I actually voted for Palhinha as Player of the Year.
I agree.
didn't think there was much competition for him. But I think over the course of the season, I thought he was our most consistent player. Came in with some key goals as well, which you wouldn't expect from a 6. I mean, how many goals did Dembele score? You know, it's.
But can I ask you this, Lubo? I can ask you this: if we remove all the emotion from this season that's gone, right?
Yeah.
And if we really want Spurs to kick on as a football club,
well, I was just about to say, Palhinha against Chelsea, against Caicedo, Palmer, and Enzo was lost.
Right.
Completely lost. They ran rings round him.
Right.
Because they've got great ability, they've got legs.
Right.
See, my problem with Palhinha in what you're saying is Palhinha on his own gets isolated. The problem that you've got with Bentancur is he's also not very mobile. Conor Gallagher is not quick, but he can run forever. There was no pace in that midfield 3, which is why we got run over. If you've then got a pacey midfielder in there, it changes the dynamic slightly, which is why someone like Matasar caught attention, because he is that little bit quicker, which is why Baleba gets attention, because he is that little bit faster across the ground. It's why so many of that type of destructive midfielder stands out that bit more, because they cover the ground quicker. But our problem with Palhinha is you're then putting him in with a Bentancur and a Gallagher, neither of which have pace. But you put them in with somebody pacier, you get it.
Yeah,
but maybe the answer is to replace Palhinha with a pacier midfielder.
Who when you look at football clubs now, right? And again, it doesn't even have to be the top teams. You look at clubs now. Newcastle, they're not playing like that. Villa don't play with the out and out 6, right? What they do is Forest. These clubs have an Anderson or Wharton. What they do is they cover the 6 area with the interceptions, but they can pass. They get the game going. And the problem for me is if you put Palhinha into a midfield, you now taken away one whole position from a man that does one thing. The other teams have players that do multiple things in that midfield. And that's why I wouldn't listen. I like Palhinha, but that's why I'm not upset if he goes. Thank you for what you've done for the year. You help keep us up. But now I want Spurs to go from here to there. I think we're so limited in midfield when you've got players like Palhinha. Sorry, really do.
He, for me, would be a squad option. He would be. I'm not saying he has to start every week, but for what he offers, for the protection that he gives, for the leadership, he would be in my squad.
See, like this.
Oh, that is quality. Yeah.
This. But that's what we need. You watch Stuttgart with Stiller, right? If you drop in an Alex Garcia, a Stiller, a Wharton, an Anderson, a Yao Gomez, Spurs, right? Spurs will instantly change, will be revolutionised how we play in midfield. And again, what I get is silly, childish things like this. It's not about not being able to pass. Some people are natural passers of the football. Their game. Rodri, right, is a natural passer of the ball. Everything he does is about how can I get the game moving? How can I control games? Palhinha's not that guy.
He's not.
Right?
What's your statement that you normally carry, Sabo? It's all something you were taught as a coach. It's all to do with the feet, right? So as much as I love Palhinha, when he's got the ball underneath him, the ball looks like it's stuck to his feet. So rather than him being free and moving it out and then being able to get the ball on the half turn and shift it, He battles hard, he gets it, and it lays it 6 yards. It's a different type of player.
Yeah.
But you can't have a ball playing number 6 and try and say that's Paulinho, because it's not. The way that they move the ball and the way they shift it and they have it in their shape is different, and it opens up different angles. So it's a completely different conversation.
Let me ask you a question. So let's look.
Mm-hmm.
Let's look at players that play in that mold that we're talking about, right?
Yeah.
So if you take Rodri at City, right? If you take Locatelli at Juventus, right? You take those sort of players. How many of them play with a DM next to them?
They don't.
They don't. Why don't they? Because they operate in that role. They sit at the base and they make the game tick. Now, what you're doing is, not saying you've said this, if you've got Paulinho, let's say we sign Locatelli, just for example. If you've got Paulinho and Locatelli both sitting in front of the back four, now you've lost that dynamism going forward, because Locatelli now has got Paulinho in his way. You don't want him there. Locatelli wants, hang on. Locatelli wants that 30-yard area in front of the back four to say, this is my area of the pitch. Give me the ball. I will always be available in here. I will snuff out danger. But if you are playing a DM and a deep line ball playing midfielder like a Stiller, like a Locatelli, like a Rodri, they all start getting in each other's way. That's why most clubs play the Locatelli, and then the two in front of them are like box to box and attacking midfielders, not DMs.
So maybe this is where my problem comes in, and where I have felt that we've had to rely heavily on Paulinho, and why I'm reluctant to let him go. I don't trust our back four. So when we've needed him to protect the back two, because the back two are awful.
I agree. Completely agree with you.
So until we fix that position, for me, you can't fix the 6. Because once you've got consistency in the back two and they're solid and you can rely on them, then you can free the 6 up a bit more. But while we can't rely on the back two, we can't play that 3-6, which is you know from the conversations we've had, I subscribe to the Grofinian way of playing, right? Which would be that you would have a ball player from that 6th role. But the only way you can do that is to then have 2 solid centre halves. We're not there yet.
I agree, but let's use Man City just as a loose example, right? If you look at Man City, they have Rodri, who runs the game, right? Yeah. And then if you actually look at the centre midfielder who's been playing with him most this season, right? It's Bernardo Silva, who by all accounts isn't really an out-and-out central midfielder. And then they have Cherky in front of him. And why? Because Rodri sits and dictates the game. The problem is, listen, and again, I love Paulinho for what he does. But all of the data and my eyes show me that he's very, very limited when it comes to evolving a game of football, right? Now, the emotion of us at the moment is he's a saviour because he stopped us getting relegated. But I'm now trying to move it away from thinking at that level and saying, right, how do we evolve to go and be a team that play at that level? For me, it's not with the out-and-out DM. I think that's a limited style of play now for me.
See, again, sorry, I'll let you speak in a minute, Lubo. I don't disagree with what you're saying, but what I'm saying to you is we have to earn that right. And the only way we earn that right is by having a solid back line and with a solid back two. Now, if you think that Senesi and Van der Ven, let's assume it's them two for next season, buys the stat right, then great. But until we've got that solid at the back, we don't earn that right to be able to have. If you have
Senesi and Van der Ven with a Wharton or a Locatelli who's doing that safeguarding in front of them,
now you think we're enough.
Now your triangle not only protects the back four, but what it also does is it's got ball playing ability. The problem is, again, Paulinho, and again, I have to keep caveating this because what he does, he's bloody sensational at it.
Yeah.
As a midfielder that gets the ball moving, that keeps the game ticking over, he's not that guy. And all of the data shows you that his recoveries, his tackling are off the chart. But then it also shows you that his ball playing passes, his progressive passes, his 1-2s, he's awful, right? And that's, I mean, Lubo, where are you with this? Because Paulinho is a real interesting character because he is such a specialist in what he does.
As I say, I thought he was our best player this season. Going forwards, I just looked at that Chelsea midfield, but then you've got to also take into account it cost 260 million.
Yeah, it
so
costs. Yeah,
so
sure.
and they were all over us. I mean, Chelsea came in. Chelsea hadn't won for 7 or 8 games, and their midfield blew us away. And that's why, I know it took a ridiculous suicidal pass from Mawani to give them the winning goal, but that's why they were by far the better team that day. And it doesn't matter who plays us, if they've got technical players, we've got a problem. Now, talking about Paulinho, I always said I pushed for Gray to be given a chance last season because I felt the home record was poor at the start. Away from home, Paulinho Bentancur was superb. They played it. He had it spot on tactically. Teams came on to us and we played on the counter attack. And what did we do? I think we won 13 of our first 17 points were away from home. At home, we weren't progressing the ball quickly enough. We weren't breaking down the low block. And that's why, funny enough, Frank kept Bentancur in and dropped Paulinho.
Yeah.
And brought Gray in. Now, it didn't work. We saw it didn't work. The home record has continued to be absolutely dreadful. But that was how he saw it. Bentancur already missed 2 games. He was only dropped for 2 games before he got injured. So you could see that Bentancur was a favourite of Frank because he was able to progress the ball and Paulinho didn't. Paulinho's strength is to close players down, nick the ball and give it. But someone like Caicedo does that and so much more. So that's the sort of standard that you've got to be looking for Spurs. To progress.
So let's look then, Lubo. So again, if we use data MB as this gives data for all of the season. Okay, so it's not cherry picked. Oh, this is off of 2 games. This is all of the season. What we can see there. I mean, this is Paulinho, right? I promise you, it is. For anyone that thinks I'm lying, I absolutely promise you, it is Paulinho. There you go. Yeah, Paulinho, 25-26, right? What you can see there is for what he's good at, he is fucking good at, right? Look, like the possession one, I don't think you can get it any further off the screen. Duels, really high. But now look at all the other 5 functions of a midfielder: carrying, forward passes, key passes, progressive passes, right? He struggles, right? Now, that's not me knocking him. It's just not his natural game. Now, give me a midfielder to put in there.
Human.
Sad. Sorry, Pete.
You go on. Oh, you said give names. It's Human and Wharton.
Right. So now you look at a Wharton, right? So now Adam Wharton does everything. Like when you look at it, what Adam Wharton does, all right, the possession and the duels aren't as high, but look at everything else. Now, Adam Wharton, by the way, that's a player at Crystal Palace, right? I could have started here with Rodri. I'll show you Rodri just to give you the idea of how the master does it, right? This is Rodri. Right? So if you look at Rodri, he's in the green, right? He's good at everything, right? He's just good at everything. So if you take up, now if I look at Yao Gomez. Now, these are people that aren't even, I'm not even going ridiculous here, guys. This is Yao Gomez of Wolverhampton Wanderers, right? So again, his possession one is the same, duels slightly less, right? But still got even that little bit more in every area than Paulinho.
I have one question though. Would you, as if you're building a squad, so if you get a direct style of play / this is how I want us to build when we've got the ball and when we're capable of imposing ourselves on other teams. If we are playing in Man City and Arsenal and Chelsea at the moment, would you have a João Paulinho, if you could, to have as an off the bench breaker up of the play, kill the game off?
No, I wouldn't.
Okay.
So how do believers stack up against these
I'll
guys?
put them in a second, but just quickly, Lubo. This is James Garner of Everton, right? So again, this is at Everton. So we're not even talking about a top team that play beautiful football. This is James Garner, who wins more duels, wins the exact same amount of possession, and look what else he does with the ball. That's James Garner of Everton. I've not gone.
No, he's been their best player this season, hasn't he?
I've not gone to Rodri. I've not gone to, I'm not picking out Perlo. This is James Garner. And this is my point. Look how many of these midfielders do so much more as players than Paulinho. It's not that he's not good at what he does, but look how limited he is with everything. That's Garner, right? You want Belieber. Now, Belieber, I don't think his stats will be that great, if I'm honest, but let's have a look.
He's had a bad year this year. I'd maybe push him on to last year's.
Let's have a look. So let's have a look. This was Belieber's last year. Hang on. Oh, sorry. Let me remove James Garner because we were looking at Paulinho, weren't we? Right. So this was Belieber last year. For me, he's okay. I think Belieber's massively overrated, but that's Belieber last year. This is Belieber this year. And I don't think he's had a great year this year. This is Belieber this year. So again, very, very limited, right?
Yeah.
Very limited. So for me, if people are going, I'd get Belieber in centre mid. For me, he just doesn't do enough. And this is the problem, right? Now I'm going to show you Arsenal's two, right? This is the levels. This is the levels we're talking about. This is Arsenal's two, right? So I'll keep Paulinho in there. Now, let's start with Zubimendi, who's probably the second choice midfielder at Arsenal, right? So Zubimendi, again, not got a possession one, but does a little bit of everything. Now, look at Declan Rice. This is the level. This is the level between a Declan Rice and a Paulinho, right? Look at, oh, hang on, there's too many colours there going on. Look at that. This is the levels. If you want Spurs to go and be a good football team, we've got to start bridging this gap of these types of players that run the midfield.
Yeah.
And that's it for me. This is where the sentiment of, do I like Paulinho? Yeah, love him. Thank you. But you've got to have more. This is 2026 now. You've got to have more in football to run a midfield.
How does Caicedo compare to Rice? To Rice and
So Caicedo's is not Rice's.
That's the level we should be in before next.
But this is where you move up to, right? But like players like this in the world, Lubo, look, Stiller at Stuttgart, right? Look at this. These boys control games of football because they can pass. So when this guy laughed at me in the chat about, oh, you're saying Paulinho can't pass. Look at how these boys can pass compared to him.
Do you know the problem is, and I really mean this, that if I say that every player since Poch's 2017 team that's been brought in has been a downgrade, we are so used to players of a much lower level, and that's the problem. And the other clubs are buying players of the level of a Dembele, of a Wanyama, of their day. And that's what's happening. We look at things, and I think we're just looking for crumbs of comfort because this is where the owners have taken our club. Brings it back to Enic, doesn't it? Always brings it back to Enic.
No, it doesn't, because you're now blaming Enic for something that they're not in charge of.
Hang on, before we go to Enic, guys. Before we go to Enic, I just want to show a few more players, right? This is Elliot Anderson, who plays for Forest, who are in a relegation battle, right? That's what we're talking about, right? That's Elliot Anderson. Then, right, let's have this will be interesting because this player is going to be available on the market. I've not seen this guy before, so it could be shit. This is Mateus Fernandes.
He's not going us, mate, unfortunately.
Right? So, but again, you see how he just does so much more than Paulinho. That's Mateus Fernandes. I'm not saying buy him, but do you see what I mean, guys, about the level of these footballers of what they do compared to how limited Paulinho is? And the last one I've got to show is my favourite. This is our mate Lubo. This is Locatelli. This is how you run games of football. Look at that. Look at that. Possession one, duels one, and then what he does with the ball afterwards. Look at it. That is if Spurs want to be back to where we were with Moussa Dembele type players, these are the footballers you need to bring into your football club.
If you realistically think he's an option, what's the chances on Barella?
Can't see Barella.
Just because there's been rumours that he's a little bit unsettled at Inter. So
I think Barella gets big offers. Let's have a look. Look at Barella. Again, like Barella, you're not getting the duels in the possession one, but look at how he dictates the game.
I'm just thinking he would be the perfect 8, wouldn't he?
Class. But do you see the levels of these footballers compared to what we've got? It is frightening. And that's why when people are losing their mind about Paulinho, I've lost all sentiment, lads. I've lost all sentiment. I'm like, thank you, but can we... someone said Lewis Skelly. Difficult to... I could put Lewis Skelly in. Going to be difficult because he's hardly played in midfield, has he?
Yeah, I was going to say he's played different roles, has he not?
It won't come up because he hasn't played more than 15 games in midfield. So, but these are the levels, and that's, you know, some of these are playing at clubs that aren't even in the top. Like it's frightening. Look at this is Yuri Tielemans, right? This was a free transfer. Look at Yuri Tielemans. That was a free transfer, and look how good he is on the ball. So no, free speech, Fiona, you're not getting it. The point is that these guys all play in teams that don't have an out-and-out 6. Sorry, Alex Garcia. People want Alex Garcia. It's just it's levels, guys. Like it's absolute levels to Paulinho, and I just think it's limited. Here's Alex Garcia.
Like I said, it's midfield, mate. Ezequiel Palacios should have been the better option for if you're going to compare, because Garcia for me is more of a Bentancur replacement than a Paulinho replacement. So Ezequiel Palacios.
But isn't that the point? But that's the point. It shouldn't be. Look at there's.
No, but that's what I mean. There's your balance. That's your balanced midfielder.
Look at that.
Sorry, who's that, Sav?
That's Palacios of Leverkusen. I mean, this is what I mean. When we're talking about Spurs can't go and buy the best players in the world, why can't we go and tempt a Palacios from Leverkusen? Why can't we go to Stuttgart and ask about Stiller? Why can't we get Garcia? Like,
Joe Gomez.
This is Manu Kone. I mean, again, Manu Kone costs less than Archie Gray.
He's only just moved, hasn't he?
Look at Manu Kone. It's all-rounders. They're all-round midfielders. And look, I'll stop doing that now because it will be frustrating for people. But this is what this is what I've asked for years, guys. I want Spurs to evolve. And I don't think until we buy a player like all of those we just showed, we're never going to control midfields. We're never going to be in games. We're never going to be in games to dictate them. So, for me. But like Garner, by the way, James Garner, again,
he's got to be durable.
If Spurs bought him, how many people would turn their nose up at James Garner?
Most of our fan base.
And he's good at everything, right? Do you know what I mean? So, yeah. I don't know. It's interesting, guys. Look, we'll see, right? We'll see. Let's see what Locatelli. I've got Locatelli on the mind, Lubo. Because if Spurs signed him, I'd lose my mind. I'd lose my mind.
Get it out of your mind. He's very happy. He's very happy at Juventus and doesn't want to leave. So
James Garner is average. I mean, this is why I hope fans like you have what you deserve. Right? I hope fans like you have what you deserve. Just saying. I remember last year people saying Anderson of Forest was average. Right? And
they're probably right. They probably are average. The problem is we are below average. That's why we finished 17th twice in a row. So you can go with average. Average would be between 8th and 14th. I'd take that next season. I'll take average next year.
You got people like this. This is another one who's got absolutely big up to my man Ethan. There you go. There's Ravella.
Oh, he's a baller. Yeah.
The thing that frustrates me, Pete, there are footballers everywhere, and our scouting is just so shit. We don't find them. That's what frustrates me. We do this, and this is for me why I think, please Spurs this year, prove me wrong. Ditch Paulinho. Bring in someone like this, and you know what? Watch our fans suddenly go, oh, God, look how good we are in midfield. Yeah. Yeah, because you bought in a top player. Look how good we were with Dembele.
Try and get a shot at Lange first. We might.
No, this is where you and I are going to agree, but we're going to phrase this differently, right? You blame Enic wholeheartedly. I blame the people they've recruited. But what we will agree with is they should have taken action sooner in changing Levy out for somebody that wanted to progress the footballing side. For getting rid of Lange, he should never be in. Then I understand the appointment because of the way that he helped the transition with Arsenal. But for us now to take this next step, we now have to be brave, we have to be bold, and we have to shift Lange, get rid of him, and go in for a proper director of football that knows how to run a football club and hand the keys over.
Who's going to tell them who that is? None of them know what they're doing, Pete.
Great point, Lubo.
I get it.
Great point.
But this is where you have to have advisors. And Charrington, as much as he's not in football, he is an expert at understanding talent and reading it. He said that he knows that we haven't had the people in the correct place. We have to hope as a fan base that he knows that he's got it right, and that part of this process is getting rid of the crap people that have been running the club.
Peter Charrington was Joe Lewis was Peter Charrington's, I think, probably biggest accounts when he was working in the wealth, in the high net worth department at Citibank.
Yeah.
Lewis offered him a job to come across to be his personal financial advisor, and he's now living in the Bahamas doing that job. He is a financial man. He knows where to put in terms of stocks and shares and investments. Charrington is an expert. He didn't even know how many players made up a football team when he joined. So Charrington won't have a clue.
Neither does Derby. He said when Gallagher plays, we have 12 men. So
yeah.
neither did Levy by your account.
Sorry, let's talk about Levy. Levy brought in Scott Munn. I mean, who on earth brings in someone like that into a football club? Munn then thought it was great to bring in Lange. So you've got the blind leading the blind leading the blinds.
Okay.
And this is where we end up with. And Vinay, bless him, Vinay and Lang thought it would be prudent to keep Frank right the way through to the end of the season, even though we were 2 wins out of 16 and the whole thing was falling apart, as we saw latterly with all the injuries.
Lubo.
Their judgment, football judgment, Pete, is not of the level that it has to be for us to be a proper, serious football club.
You're wrong. Who knows football? Who knew out of the Glazers? Who knew soccer or football when they came over? None of them.
Sorry, who knew who?
Manchester United.
Yeah.
Out of the Glazers, who of them knew soccer or football when they came over? None of them. Who knew what football and how it works in the Saudi group or the Qatari group that took over at Man City?
Do you know who was advising United? Do you know who was advising United for many years? Alex Ferguson. That's who the Glazers had advising him.
Hang on, if you're going to talk about Man City, you're way off the base here, mate. Man City brought in Tiggy Birkenstein.
But they brought in somebody to advise. But the actual owners, which is what he's on about, didn't know anything. The owners at Tottenham don't know anything. Most owners at most football clubs don't know anything. You employ the right person to do that job.
Sure, but if you use Man United as the example, there's a reason why you could argue Man United have been a shambolic mess for the last 10, 15 years. Because they didn't have anyone. What Man United relied on was the name Man United. Oh, we'll just go and pick up players. But what Man City did was brought in an advisor that can change it. Listen, I think you're both right. I think you're both right. Lubo's right in the sense of who at Spurs right now, if I walk into Spurs right now and I own the club, who's advising me within Tottenham Hotspur? Cool, you need that legend as a football advisor, director of football. Who at Spurs is going to do that? Is Kell that guy? Who's making the decision that Kell should join Spurs if he does? Who?
It's going to be Vinay, isn't it?
Right. Okay. So do we believe that if I'm just using that name, if Kel comes into the club tomorrow, right?
Yeah.
Do we believe that Kel is a big enough director of football to go out there in the market and have the ear of players across Europe? I don't know, by the way, is the answer. I'm just asking you.
He wouldn't be who I would go for because I don't think he's experienced enough. He's only been at Dortmund, hasn't he, for a couple of years?
Okay, but isn't that Lubo's point? Is if they bring in Kel, who's
But we were looking at Freeman.
Huh?
The last I heard, we were looking at Dougie Freeman, and he was coming in, and potentially he was coming in on the proviso that Lange buggered off.
Sure, okay, but Friedman's good. But is Friedman, again, I'll ask this question. What do Spurs want to be? I like Dougie Freedman, but Dougie Freedman has also operated at a level at Crystal Palace where it was about going and finding gems and developing them. At Spurs, are we going to be happy with more of that? Or are we all going to be sitting here going, where's our top players? So again, Freedman, Kel, have any of them got experience at a top level club where you have to go and buy top footballers?
It's hard because realistically, who's out there that can?
Well, I mean, there's multiple that can, aren't there?
Because I would get my personal, as you well know, is Dan Ashworth.
I'll take Ashworth in a heartbeat.
And that's who I would be going to get.
Sure,
who's he working for at the moment?
No one.
Listen, there's no shortage. Paul Mitchell's out of work.
Mitchell, Ashworth. Look, the difference is clubs that have top directors of football. Look at Arsenal. Like Berta, look at his black book.
Yeah.
Right. Look at Berta. Look at some of the
different class.
Oh, different. But you look at some of the names he got to Atletico Madrid. Look at the black book. Look at the names he's got. Right? Arsenal went out and went, we're going to get that guy. Right? Tottenham went out and went, we're going to take Johan Lang. Like it's just levels, isn't it?
Yeah, of course.
It's levels. And in the last 5 years, if I'm not wrong, Spurs have spent something like £50 million less on transfer fees than Arsenal. And Arsenal were winning titles and in the Champions League final. And we're having to beat Everton on the last day of the season to stay up.
This is last Sunday's programme against Everton. The cost to buy all of those players on that list, the ones that were purchased, came to £720 million.
Does that include the injured players?
That includes what, like Kulusevski, Maddison?
Right, yeah.
720 million.
So it doesn't even take into account like 50 million for a Brennan Johnson that's been bought and sold.
Correct.
Like,
scary, isn't it?
It's scary how bad a squad they've put. Listen, we can argue this all day long. I think we should wrap up the show. We could argue all day long. Look,
we didn't even touch half the subjects, did we?
I think we kind of did in a roundabout way. Look, we didn't. I'm looking at this. This is some notes about permission blockchain. This is nothing to even do with Tottenham. I don't know what I was hoping to read off of that. I think if Paulinho goes, I think this is a great point. I think if Paulinho goes, one of two things: either De Zerbi didn't want him, or Paulinho don't want Spurs. So I'm not bothered. If he stays, fine. If he goes, cool. Let's evolve, right? At the end of the day, what we need to see is if it is Lang, if Lang does stay and if Kel does join up, at the end of this window, we're going to see again, have we had another window where it's been bloody underwhelming, or have they actually got the ability to go and get some top players? And it's that simple, right?
Yeah. Sad. Can I answer Matty Cox on a couple of points that he's raised?
Sure.
Over the last few minutes. Yes, you're correct. You are right. Let's just talk about the previous employees that I'd like back. Paul Barber would be brilliant. Levy did very well. Barber's a Spurs fan, right? Levy got him in, well done, Levy, but then managed to lose him. Didn't let him do his job. Paul Mitchell, I mentioned, did a really good job. Got pushed out by Levy, wasn't allowed. Levy infringed on his job. That's why he left. He quite openly came out in the press and said he couldn't work. you know. So yes, now Levy's gone. Maybe you could get a Paul Mitchell back. In terms of what you said about Ed Woodward, you're 100% correct. He was the guy that came in, I suppose, as director of football or to run football matters. But Ed Woodward, like Levy, was a businessman and not a football person. And Man United, although it's very difficult to keep going on the level that they've been going for 20 odd years, United dropped off dramatically when David Gill left and Ed Woodward came in. And in the end, Ed Woodward went. So the same way that Levy's gone. So and United are coming back, aren't they? You can see they're coming back. They're making good buys. They're spending money. They're paying the right wages. And United are getting stronger and stronger again. And they will be up there again next season.
Yeah. I mean, what is it? Edison already? They've got agreed.
I think.
I mean,
I'd love them to.
Yeah, but this is the difference. Again, if we go back to the Paulinho conversation just quickly, this is the levels, right?
Yeah.
Man United are not buying Paulinhos. They're buying Edisons, right? That's the difference. And if you want to keep up with the Joneses, you've got to get rid of sentiment.
What they did, they bought Casemiro for a couple of years, and it's turned into 3 or 4 years, I think. And he did a job. I mean, he's not. Has he been on it this season? I suppose under Carrick,
this year.
He's had a renaissance this year. Last year, I think he was poor. But you know, these clubs keep moving forward. Look at Liverpool yesterday. Look at Liverpool. I mean, I feel a bit sorry for Slot. I think the way Salah threw him under the bus after Salah's performances last season were absolutely disgraceful compared to the year before. And it's because of players like Salah that Liverpool dropped off so much. So for Salah to throw him under the bus was appalling. Salah needs to be looking at himself before he starts criticising managers. But Liverpool took a view. They're moving on. You know, I think they probably looked at Iriola as bang. You know, I'm sure there were communications between Iriola's team and Liverpool, and they thought, this guy is for us. Is going to be better than Slots. Let's go for him. They don't. The top clubs, they don't mess about. They're ruthless.
Let's remember this conversation, because as much as I like Iriola, let's remember this conversation everyone's been having, right? About Iriola, because Iriola is not a winner, which I was told was a prerequisite for a big club, right? Now, he's going to go to Liverpool, and what Iriola's got history of doing is building. Sound familiar? He's got a history of building, right?
Yeah.
The question is, are those Liverpool fans going to sit and wait if he says, give me a year, are they going to sit and wait? Or is it going to be after 6 months, we're not in a title challenge, Iriola's got to go? And that's the thing for any manager stepping up. That's always got to be the question.
Iriola didn't lose a game for the last 4.5 months of the league season, I don't think.
But that's not what I'm talking about. That's
I know what you're saying, and for a team like Bournemouth, that is phenomenal.
Sure.
Yeah, but Lubo, where's his trophy? Why has he not gone and won anything? Why doesn't he play the exact flowing football that Liverpool are known for?
He's got, listen, I'm not, by the way, guys, I'm playing devil's advocate. I think it's brilliant for Iriola if he gets the Liverpool job.
Agreed.
I am an advocate that if he goes there, give him some time to actually build what he wants. But football fans don't want time. Liverpool fans will expect immediately the Iriola goes, bish bash bosh, look how great we are. However, Iriola's never ever had big money signings. Iriola's never managed egos. Iriola's job has been, I'll bring in a Rayan. I'll bring in an Alex Scott. I'll produce Hewson and Zabanyi and Kirkes, right? So all I'm saying is it's very different. And this is what everyone threw at Frank, right? This is what everyone threw at Frank was, is he big enough for a big club? Let's see. Is Iriola big enough? If he is, fair play to the lad. But how much time are the Liverpool fans going to give him? I.e., if Liverpool aren't challenging for the title in the first 3-4 months, how many of them turn and go, see, he can't handle Liverpool?
You wonder what Xabi Alonso's thinking. Shit, I should have held on an extra couple of weeks.
Thinking about the Liverpool fans aren't going to put up with a nice style of play, but they're losing games. And you've got to remember, at Bournemouth, if he loses a game, right? By the way, everyone, I like Iriola. Some people really can't get context. I love Iraola, right?
We're being tongue in cheek, right? Just so we're clear.
But it's not so much tongue in cheek. It's more about football fans are very irrational, right? They expect miracles after 3 months, 6 months. And history tells you normally when managers come from these smaller clubs to bigger clubs, the fans of the bigger club don't have any patience or time to let that manager do what he did at said smaller club, right? And that is what they were good at. So Iraola, for me, good luck, because he's got to go into Liverpool immediately, buy players immediately, and turn them round. And if he doesn't, you watch. Watch the first time he loses a game, how many people are going to be going, Iraola's not good enough, he's not good enough, he's not good enough. I'm telling you.
I think
I'm not lying.
Didn't Iraola start really badly at Bournemouth as well? Wasn't it something daft like 2 wins?
11 games without a win.
They are a knowledgeable fan base of the Liverpudlians. They know their football. They know their football.
Sure.
So what you saying about us, Lubo?
Again, I don't understand. Can I just say, Matty posted something in my chat yesterday after the show as well, and it makes me wonder whether he listens. No one's defending Frank. I could use Graham Potter as an example here. I could use Poch as an example here. There are managers that do well, but then when they step up, the expectation of the fan base above isn't the same as the fan base below. The expectation is, you're at Liverpool now, mate. Yeah, you don't get time. So I feel sorry for these managers, is my point. And by the way, right, nothing to do with defending Frank. This guy yesterday wrote in my chat, I mean, beggars belief. I said I'd have Savio, but I don't rate Tell. He's one of them in the chat. Oh, you're twerking for Savio. What do you mean twerk? Do you mean what? Because I rate him above. Honestly, we say some funny things. We say some funny things. Yeah, I'll do the super chats in a minute. Look, see, not Poch. Well, yes, Poch. Absolutely Poch. Poch went into Chelsea, gone. Right? Poch went into PSG. Right? Gone. So, yes, Poch. Yes, Potter. Yes, Frank. Right? De Zerbi will be... Sorry, not De Zerbi. He's not gone to a big club. Iraola. Let's see. Fans always want what's hip at the time. I'm just saying, let's revisit this conversation, right, in 6 months, and we'll see how well Iraola started. And by the way, I really hope he does well. I really like Iraola. I really like him. But let's see how patient fans of a big club are, as opposed to time to build and grow. That's all I'm saying.
I'd like to think that after coming back to our club, I'd like to think that after the last 2 seasons in the league, particularly this year, where we needed a last day of the season win to stay up, I hope fans realise that this is going to take time.
You're one of them.
You think so? No, definitely.
You're one of them.
I've never been unrealistic about where we are as a club.
You keep, from my point of view,
yeah,
stuff that I've seen you say regularly, you have a high expectation on the likes.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did. And I'm going to find it right now. Yes, you did say twerking, Matty. By the way, look, this is why do we have to have conversations like this, right? Confused by your Tell hate, but apparently rate Savio. Sure, because when I watch Savio, I think he's a much better footballer. I don't hate Tell, I just don't rate him, right? I don't want to agree they're both crap, because no, I don't think they are both crap. I don't think Savio would have got the move to Man City if he was crap. Yeah,
he was wicked at Girona.
What I saw him do at Girona wasn't crap. People make me laugh so much. Honestly, hang on 1 second, and we're going to do some super chats. Right? We're going to do some super chats. You didn't say twerking. Can you see that? But why are you twerking for Savio? Yes, you did say twerking. Yes. It's just weird. I rate this player, not that player. You're twerking for him. What? Jesus Christ. I think there's levels between Savio and Tell, but hey, I'm not doing that again. By the way, I'll caveat this again. I never even said Savio was my number one choice to join at left wing. I just said I would take him over.
That's Solace, isn't it?
I'd take Solace all day. I'd take Solace all day. Solace, Rashford. Rashford for me is a no-brainer. Absolute no-brainer. Left side, through the middle, scores goals, gets assists, experience, knows the Premier League. England, it feels like a no-brainer.
Generally a good human being as well, from what we can tell.
Just quickly, last thing before we do super chats. West Ham, Bowen, Somerville, Matthias Fernandez,
Juve.
possibly Juve. Yeah, we've got Robertson. Would you take the three I mentioned?
Three. I think I would.
Pete?
Oh, no, then I didn't step in because I fully agree. I would take them in a heartbeat. Bowen would be an absolute dream. Like, quality players. Somerville's hit and miss, but it seems to be progressing. And Fernandez, unfortunately, I think he's off to United or Arsenal. I don't think we'll get a look in. But yeah, no, he'd be fantastic.
By the way, somebody's made a really good point. A player I would definitely be looking at would be Nico at Man City. I would 100% be looking at Nico at Man City.
Didn't get any games, did he? Hardly any minutes last season.
And he runs games of football.
Yeah.
So I would absolutely be seeing if that's the sort of player you can get from Man City and promise him, hey, come in, we're building the team around you. But there's so many of them. Yeah, mate, it's all good fun, mate. It's all good fun. Just the word twerking makes me laugh. Right, let's do some super chats. It's all good fun, guys. I'd take Morgan Gibbs-White in a heartbeat. Any bloke that scores 15 goals from central midfield playing for Nottingham Forest, absolutely. Here we go.
We haven't seen those figures from midfield since Gaza and Huddle.
Well, Ericsson, maybe.
Not
Eddie
15.
Ali.
Would you call Ali? I wouldn't call Ali a midfielder.
He was a 10.
Gibbs-White was more of a 10 as well when he Gibbs-White pushes. I just mean in general, Lubo. For what?
Yeah. Ali would be the last one. If
I was gutted we didn't get Gibbs-White. I was absolutely gutted. I think he's everything Tottenham need. I think. Anyway, look, Sanctuary 7. How you doing, my man? Said the football gods answered our prayers last night. Wasn't my prayers. I don't care. Listen, at the moment, we've got bigger fish to fry than Arsenal winning stuff. We've got a massive summer for me, which I'm more concerned about. Where's the news at my club than what are Arsenal doing right now? Sorry if that's not enough Arsenal hate, but listen, I said this in the WhatsApp group earlier. I'm jealous of what Arsenal have done this last 5-6 years, right? And let's be fair, everything Arsenal have done as a football club, from the owners to the manager to the players they're buying to the director of football, is everything we're asking for, isn't it?
Yeah.
We want to give a manager time. We want a top director of football. We want owners that put in the money and pay wages, and we want to buy good players. They've done all four.
Sav, we want these owners have got sporting franchises all over the place, so they know how sport works. Our guys are real estate experts. There's your difference.
Completely agree. See, again, I want to evolve though, Darren. I want to evolve. He kept us in the Premier League. Now I want players that are going to take us up the Premier League. This is the thing. Too much sentiment. There's so much sentiment in this fan base. It's unreal. We do this every year with a player or not. Anyway, big up Sanctuary 7. Big up to my man Gary. Said heartfelt rant by Lubo. I share his pain. Big up. That was ages ago, but big up to you. Yeah, Lubo loves a little rant. He loves it. Big up to you. Thank you, Gary. Right. Yeah, it's not often he's right, though. He just likes ranting. Andy, it said 2 shows in 2 days, Sav. I hope you're well, mate. Yeah, only because I don't know, actually. Just I didn't have anything planned today, actually. So why not? And yes, I will be doing a members show at some point in the next couple of weeks. So yes, absolutely. Big up to you guys. Big up to Simon Bergen. Said, hey, guys, nice to see you back on Sava. I'm doing one a week at the moment, mate. I'm doing one a week. And then a couple of videos in the week. But I don't want to be doing a video every day for every little rumour. I just can't. It kills me inside. Big up to you, Simon. Big up to the 2 Mark Show. Mark Cook. How you doing, Cookie? 30 months of the membership. Hopefully see you at the barbecue next week, Mark. It was great seeing you last time. Hopefully see you on Saturday for that. Big up to you, my man. Big up to Paul Langley, just with a super sticker. I love it. Always super stickers on the super sticker train. Thank you so much, Paul. Always appreciate your support. Big up to Sanctuary 7. Says, oh, I'm jealous too. Still want to see them lose. Yeah, look, cool. Yeah, I get it. I'll tell you what embarrasses me. It's how shit we are, how close we came to getting relegated, and we think that Arsenal losing a Champions League final gives us the right to mock them and laugh at them. I mean, I can't make it work in my head. For me, I'm keeping my powder dry because they're a fabulously run club and we're not. So at the moment, I'm keeping my powder dry.
I think the only positive, Sad, the only positive you can take from that, I understand where he's coming from, is as a fan base, we've suffered enough this season. We're going to suffer a little bit less now.
We'll see. Oh, my mate Matt's in the chat. Jealous of Arsenal. Yeah, they've just won a Premier League title and got in a Champions League final. They had 24% possession and 1 shot on target. Yeah, I didn't say I was jealous of their performance against PSG. Matt, bless. It's all right. I wonder, I haven't seen Matt and his stupid takes for a while. Sorry, I'm jealous of how their club is run, Matt. They've just won the Premier League. You told me all year they weren't going to win it. They won it, right? This is what happens when you build over a number of years. This is what happens. I am jealous of what they've put in place. Use the words. I know that for some that are immature, they can't quite get that. But move the rivalry aside, I am jealous because what they're doing is everything. Everything they've done is Lubo's 7-point manifesto.
There you go. There you go. There you go. I'll take that as a comfort, as an agreement for the manifesto. Thank you very much. Your belief in my manifesto fills me with pride still, Sam.
I love this. Beef, not just beef. Oh, God, I wish I was a cunt like you. I do. I'm going to say the C word. I've dropped the C bomb. Oh, God, imagine this. Beef, not just beef. God, your parents must be proud of you. Anyway, Super Chat's carried on. Love it. Lee, Enigma, thank you, Lee. Said, mate, can't make the barbecue next week. Boy, it's his first boxing tournament. Oh, fair enough. Buy some salsa and dips on me. Thank you very much, Lee. We will buy some dips and salsa. Thank you very much. Shane, loved your company last year. Big up to you, my man. Thank you very much. And stage 1 with $100 super chat. Wow. Off the back of yesterday's £500 super chat. Crazy times. Thank you so much, stage 1. I don't know who you are, but love it. It says, I wouldn't go for Tonali. Fair enough. Leao from AC Milan could be a top signing, but I'd rather scout France like PSG do. Doué came from Rennes. Barcola came from Lyon. Ligue 1 has so many young talents, especially wingers, and we need to look there more. Stage 1, it's difficult to respectfully disagree with someone that pays so much money. I think the difference is stage 1 is PSG can bring in young talent into top players, right? So they've got a team of top footballers that they can bring them into. Problem is, if Spurs go and buy more kids from France at the age of 19 or 20, we're bringing them in to play with who? We've got to, I'm not saying don't get any, but I respectfully disagree. And mate, I'd love Tonali. But this, gentleman, is very generous. Wouldn't you agree? It's a very generous super chat. Okay. No, they're not going to talk now. I've asked them. A big up. Thank you so much for the super chat. Stage 1.
What do I think, Sad? We went for Doué, didn't we? And he picked PSG.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He was never coming to us.
Where did you go through?
Never coming to us. Yeah. But look, by the way, I do think it's sad. Listen, a big up to stage 1. That is very generous, my man. I wish I knew who you were so I could thank you properly, but thank you very much. For me, what I find truly worrying about football fans is because I don't take pleasure in mocking Arsenal, it's, oh, you love them. Why would I love Arsenal? I don't get that. I just want Tottenham to act like Tottenham. I want Tottenham to act like a proper football club. So in a year where we were...
It's respect, isn't it, more than anything else?
Of course it is. In a year in a year where we've nearly got relegated and in 2 years where we finished 17th twice, how can I go over to my Arsenal mates and go, gutted you lost the final? They're going to be like, are you kidding me? Look how shit your club is. Are you kidding me?
We've been 9 years.
That was on his way out, hence why City standards drop. There's always an excuse, though, isn't there?
No time, no, that happens really not being sorted.
It's always, if Spurs won the league and someone made this excuse, you would hate it. They won the league. Go on.
Bring that back up to me. 2 seconds.
What, Matt's?
Yes, please.
But this guy's a first.
I just want to clarify something. Pep being on his way out will not drop their standards. If you knew that your gaffer, who was a legend, was on his way out, that doesn't make you drop off an ease. That makes you push harder to get the title to sign off. Like, it's nonsensical. You would fight to make sure that he goes out on a high. You wouldn't put your tools down.
I just don't get it.
I think Matt's got to concentrate more on the fact that in 9 years we've gone from one position off champions to one position off relegation.
It's scary. Yeah.
I think that's the key thing that everybody's got to have in their minds. This is not an overnight thing. No. This has been coming for years and years and years.
But Lubo, what's on Sky Sports News right now? Right?
It must be the Arsenal parade, I would have thought.
They are champions of England. Whatever people want to say, corners are legal. This decision, that decision, they bottled the league for it. They're champions of England. Like, why would I not want Spurs to be that? That's our rivals winning a title, right? That's a fact. That's not me arse-licking them. That is me going, how did they do it? Well, they did all the things that we want, Lubo. They did all the things that we want. They stuck with a manager. They spent nearly £1 billion or over £1 billion in 6 years. They got rid of all the deadwood. They brought in top quality players like Declan Rice and Gabriel.
And paid the
wages.
They controlled the egos in the dressing room and got rid of people like Aubameyang.
Madness.
What would it be? Absolutely agree with the comment. I don't think anything is going to change with Enic in charge. I do think they'll put money up this summer, because if they don't,
I agree.
They're not going to want to, they've had a major shock. They would have done their figures based on relegation 2 or 3 months ago. They would have looked at the carnage and they would have thought, shit, we've got to make sure we don't go down. And this was a major shock for them. And actually, Johnny said on one of the shows, what we want, when Still was going on about relegation, Johnny said, no, what we want is for Spurs to be on life support and come through like with the points in the last game of the season. And he got it spot on. Yeah. And that's exactly what happened. Matt, not only did they spend £1 billion, Matt, what they did is that they have bought quality in every position. They paid the wages to bring those players in, and they built bit by bit. Arteta came in. Cousin of mine knew an Arsenal legend many years ago who told him the following story. First week of training that Arteta went in there, he pulled 3 players into his office who he felt weren't giving 100% in training, and he said to them, "I've come from a club with a better squad and a better team than this, being Man City." He said, "If you're not prepared to give 100%, you'll be gone." And those 3 players were gone within a year or so, and that's what he's done. And the owners backed him, and they stayed with him. And this, which is something that Levy should have done with Pochettino in 2019. Poch had earned the right. 5th, 5th, 3rd, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and the Champions League final. He'd earned that right to be backed. And Levy couldn't wait to get rid of him. Didn't back him for 520 days. Nothing spent in the transfer window. Didn't back him. Couldn't wait. First sign of trouble. Didn't get behind him and say, "You've done really well for us for 5 years. We're having a problem. I'm going to stay with you because I've seen what you've done, and you've got points in the bank for me." No, he jettisoned him, and he got his fantasy Mourinho in at the third time of asking. It wasn't overnight. He was seen having a meeting with Mourinho in the Dorchester 2 or 3 weeks before Poch was sacked. And then Mourinho came in and he wasn't prepared to back him either and chucked him out a week before the League Cup final. So Arsenal have done everything that we haven't.
Exactly.
So,
and by the way, right, can we just say, right, I'm about to blow this wide open. Matt, I'd love you to come on and talk to us because you always say these stupid things in the chat, but when you come on, you've got nothing to back up. By the way, I've looked at how much the Premier League clubs have spent from 2020 to 2026.
Is this wages or just transfers, Sad?
This is just transfers.
Just
right?
transfers.
But what makes me laugh is when people say they've spent $1 billion. Do you want to know who else has spent $1 billion in the same time frame? Lubo, listen to this. So Chelsea have spent 1.9 billion, right? Haven't won a league in that time. So that kicks Matt's point out the window, right? They've spent nearly double Arsenal and haven't won a title. Man United have spent 1.5 billion, haven't won a league title in that time. Man City has spent 1.3 billion in that time, right? Yeah, they've won titles. They were the best. They were Man City. Arsenal have spent 1.2 billion in that time and now won their title. Tottenham have spent 1.05 billion. So we spent 150 million less than Arsenal whilst they're winning titles and whilst we're in relegation battles. So let that sink in, right? Liverpool have spent 1 billion. And then you've got Newcastle, 800 million, West Ham, 800 million, Forest have done 800 million, and Villa, 750. But the point is, when people like Matt sit there and go, but they spent $1 billion, so have 6 other clubs. So why have all 6 of those other clubs not won the title?
And so what we're also saying then is that to say that Enic don't back the club is a lie. Because
no, they do. They just do it badly.
Oh, that's a different conversation.
Sure.
But the money's provided.
Yeah, but hang on. Enic aside, you see my point there is that when people go, they've spent £1 billion, who hasn't? Like, you tell me, right? How close have Chelsea come to winning a league in the last 6 years?
No idea.
How close have Man United come to winning a league title in the last 6 years?
No idea.
How close have Tottenham come to winning a league title in the last 6 years?
The Championship, about 1 game.
Right? So when people go, yeah, but they've spent $1 billion, what, has no one else spent money? Like, it just doesn't make sense.
The problem
They've
is,
spent it well.
So the problem is that if you add wages and transfer fees together over those 6 years, I think you'll see a different story.
But hang on, between us and Arsenal, yes, but all the other clubs, Lou. But the point, it wasn't about Spurs.
Sure.
The point is, all those other clubs,
they're all spending.
Chelsea and Man United's wages must be through the fucking roof.
Oh yeah, they're astronomically horrendous.
Right.
I think Casemiro's are like $250
So
million.
why haven't those two clubs, if it's that easy, you just spend £1 billion and win it, why haven't those two clubs won the title?
Liverpool won the league, haven't they?
Look, I love this.
Yeah.
We all underperformed. We all underperformed, hence why they had an easy route to win the Premier League. I love this. Why can't you just give them credit? Credit where it's due. They were the best team.
Yeah.
Oh, he loved it.
The only reason I'm asking is it's the easiest Europa League that's ever been given in history. So if that's the easiest competition and that's what we gauge our success on, then even if it was the easiest title run that had been for 10 years, they still had to go and do it.
It's just too many excuses, Pete. It's too many excuses, right? Let's be fair. If Spurs won the league, there's no excuses, right? It's we won the league.
Yeah.
When anyone else wins the league, it's they're cheats. They did this. Other teams weren't very good. Like, it's just mental. It's absolutely mental. I just find it ridiculous. And this is why everyone thinks you're a troll, Matt. That's why everyone thinks you're a troll. Spurs, Chelsea, City, Liverpool, we didn't underperform.
No, we didn't.
This is where we've been for years, mate. I don't know what you mean. We've been consistently shit. What do you mean we underperformed? Oh, God. But notice, Matt, would you like, I always ask him to come on. He never does. He always shits the bed. I'm going to leave it there, guys. Before we do, Sanctuary7 has gifted a Football Heritage TV membership. Thank you. Very generous. Really, really appreciate that. Thank you, Sanctuary. You're always very generous to me. Really appreciate it. And Matty Cox has said, won me back over. You called me out. I'm a member again. Matty, love it. It's all good banter, Matty. But just because I said I'd take Savio over Tell, I'm not twerking for him. There's many players I'd take over Tell. I just find it funny. Look, it is what it is. Look, before we wrap up, I just thought we might finally get to the stage where people truly realise how shit we are and how bad the squad is. Then you would have thought that would have been heightened by the fact that our rivals win the league. And instead, it's made people double down. It's made people double down. Listen, do I want Arsenal to win the league? No. But as a grown-up, I can say to my mates who support Arsenal, fair play. They won the most games. They lost the least games. They conceded the least goals, right? They had the most clean sheets. In my books, you deserve to win the league. Yeah. Yeah. That's it. Guys, it's been an absolute pleasure. Let's see if there's anyone live that we can send you over to. I don't know if anyone's doing anything. Hold the line, please. Hold the line, callers. Anyone see anyone live? Can't see anyone live. There must be someone live. Why is it showing me no one's live?
So they're all at the parade, mates.
I can't see anyone's live. This is mental.
By the way, has considering the stick we got and we're going down and we're shit and we're going to get relegated, has anybody heard from whufc lately?
No. He will hear from me if we get Morgan Gibbs right. But anyway, look, guys, I'm going to leave it there. Great show. Really enjoyed it. I love it. I love it. Just stop. Go away. Just go away. Oh, my God. Trolls will be trolls. What can you do? Guys, it's been a great show. Much love, everyone. Take care. And bless me. And as always, go on, Lubo, you want to say something?
I was going to say Enic out.
Oh,
oh, that was me thinking you were going to go, come on, you Spurs. No, just do it.
I'll leave that to Sava.
Anyway, take care, everyone. I'm going to go enjoy the rest of my Sunday. Matt, I'll tell you what, get on Wikipedia, do a little bit of research. Unfortunately, you got it wrong again. You know, you said 17th was one off. We're 17th again. You know, you got it wrong with all the players that you liked as well. Other than that, you're a great sport. Take care, everyone. Much love. And as always, come on, you Spurs.